Hello. Welcome to another episode of Doug. Oh, there's like a shadow now. Interesting. I've moved my lights around. I should be more lit. Notice how white I am now. Oh. Oh, Twitch immediately froze. Am I live? Oh, there we go. What's up? He's so bright. I'm so lit. Look at how lit I am. This stream is fucking lit, bro. Anyway, yo, hello. I want to finish watching football. That's incorrect. It's called soccer. You use the correct American term, and then you come back here. It's a ghost. I don't look that white. I moved the lights around a bunch. Now they're, like, out there, as opposed to, like, right here. So I think I look more lit. You know what I mean, fellas?
Hail you shit king. I hereby vow to hail you this day.
Godspeed, Taro. You look tired and pale. I do not look pale. This is like well lit. The lighting is more balanced than it was. I mean, I do look really bright, but that's fine. That's a good thing. Whoa, are you a ghost? Literally look just well lit.
Hey Doug, I'm from the future and currently rewatching the VOD of this stream. Can you do something unpredictable to change the fabric of time itself?
You look
Thanks.
quite pale. I'm gonna do something unpredictable by not doing something unpredictable like you asked.
Hey,
Therefore,
Doug, I was just getting into coding and I
screwing over
want
the
to ask you a
timeline.
look question. What does it mean when you...
Hey, it's a good question. Let me really dive into that. Where is Tony? He's so pale, I can't tell if he has a shirt on. Okay, you guys are fucking with me, but the lighting does look good, right? This looks better than it was.
the
Although there's
last
a shadow
stream
here.
ended gloriously.
Huh.
Oswald carrying and then Tony coming in for the win.
Thank you! Everybody was complaining that it was rigged, but it was a great ending. I probably just won't do predictions for things
Instead
like that in the
of three
future.
D&D players with it should be an dungeon master we can manipulate. It could take over for your job.
There's two D&D things I want to do soon.
Hey Doug, hope you're doing well.
I don't like that
Content
there's a
is
big
great
shadow on me
lately,
if I do
per
this.
usual. BTW, is there a story behind your Odyssey desktop wallpaper? Do you particularly like Odyssey?
I do particularly like Odyssey. I sped ran it for a while, and then I just took this picture and I thought it was nice, and I don't know.
Hey Doug, when do you plan on doing Path of Pain
5
stream?
years? Oh my god.
Also, have you heard of the game Have a Nice Death? I think you'd like it.
Good question. I don't know. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I have a confession, and you guys might have picked up on this already. All of the ideas that I have right now, all the streams I want to do, are just AI. I was looking at my list yesterday. The top, like, 30 ideas that I'm interested in are all AI-based. And I've always tried to not overkill a single concept too much, but it's so hard with AI, because I just love it too much. And it's so entertaining. And clearly most people enjoy it as well, because the viewership's higher during it, but, like... I do feel like, shit, I gotta vary it up. So, okay, you asked about doing Hollow Knight Path of Pain. I want to do Hollow Knight Path of Pain, and then I have all these ideas for just having an AI do funny things with you guys in the background, but then I'm like, oh, well, then it's like yet another AI thing, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. I feel like I feel obligated to mix it up and not have everything be AI, but then at the same time, it's like what I'm actually interested in doing right now. There is another D&D concept I have, though, that I want to start doing as well, which is not AI. Can an AI create predictions by analyzing the stream? That's funny. That's a good idea, Fummy. That's very good. I'm gonna write that down. Because, like, the predictions will probably suck. Like, I just send them a screenshot of what's currently happening, and they'll, like, make a prediction. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Have an AI design channel point predictions every 2 minutes. And then we just have to figure out what they are. Do this by having it look at screenshots of the of OBS. All right, cool. I'll explain what I'm doing today. Today's okay. Chill ass low energy. I didn't sleep well. I'm actually feeling pretty good right now, but I assume I'll crash at some point because I slept not good. The heat is fucking with my brain and body. So, it's going to be chill. It's going to be low. It's going to be boring, all right? Or it's going to be like 30 minutes tops. No, probably not 30 minutes, but like not that long, okay? So don't get excited. Don't get hyped up. It's going to be boring, okay? Boring stream. In fact, let me add a disclaimer.
Hey Doug, representative from Nadug Doug here. We know about that unlit thing you did FRFR on God, you pale bald man. Bringing Tony King of New York back on God.
I do. Okay, well, Tony King. Okay, let me explain. Boring. Do not watch. Your eyes.
The last stream
burn.
ended well and it was a great time. It was also rigged. Okay, chat.
That's true.
Bye. I love you.
All right, bye, chat. I love you. Okay. No, what we're actually doing. I'm really excited about this idea. And
Douglas,
yes,
Douglas,
it's more AI,
you
but I
can't
think it'll be
replace
cool.
chat with I for your YouTube no matter how hard you try or how much you want to.
But the funny thing is, I feel like I could literally completely replace me at this point. Wait. Okay. You know
Hey
what a good
Doug,
idea is?
You're looking pretty uppercase today, unfortunately. Can you please add a lowercase Doug next to you so user lowercasians can understand you
Lower
better?
Cajuns?
Thanks.
Is that racist? Oh wait, what's the thing I just said right before? I was gonna say something else. We should do a series of streams where like every stream has more and more of what I normally do replaced with AI, and like it's a funny way, right? It's like a funny thing, but you know, it's like now Twitch chat is talking to an AI, which is then doing Dungeon Master stuff, which is then responding to donations. There's like all these AIs doing this stuff, and then eventually we get to a point where I'm just not in a YouTube video, and then we see if anybody notices. You know, like as long as it's a really gradual transition, like maybe we'll get new viewers on YouTube who literally don't think that there's a human involved. That'd be so funny. Can we hire somebody else to stream? The only 24-hour stream I was considering doing is that I set up Barack Obama's hands to play Pokemon, and then I just let the stream run until he like beats a gym. Which might take months. Like, if I ever want to go on a vacation for like 4 to 5 months, I think I would do that. I'm going to explain what we're doing shortly. I am going to give it a few more minutes for people to trickle in, because once I start explaining this, I feel like it'll be hard to re-explain it easily.
Hi, good. Can you buy dice with this money so you can be a real D&D? Instead of a fake loser who doesn't eat dice for breakfast and dinner and sleeps on a normal mattress and not a mattress of dice.
Do you know I've never played in-person D&D? No, that's not true. I've done 2 in-person D&D sessions,
Sir Douglas,
but
of the House
99% of it
Douglas,
has been
the
online.
Dungita. I went to get a follow-up on my jaw treatment earlier, and when talking about how pain can come from different places, the example my doctor used was, I kid you not, divorce. Could he be a Doug Doug fan?
You just subbed for
Probably,
3
yeah.
years. Calico Cowboy, thank you.
$60 value, all for only $14.99.
Quick Sparse,
Tony
no.
with the answer was like a buzzer
I have
beater in
not done that.
basketball. The answer was in the air before time expired. Great ending, very poggy.
Thank you. All right, I will probably explain what we're doing now. I don't have a 5-year alert yet or a 5-year sub badge.
Hollow
Quick
Knight
Sparse.
Path of Pain laxative speedrun. And replacing what we say with I won.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we could replace everything with AI. I do want to retain a
Hey Doug,
balance.
my cousin Tony King of New York recently left for pizza, never came back. Do you know where he is?
Oh, he's over at Mama Scoliosis's, having some of that lasagna.
Hi Carl,
Okay.
How was the shift at Wendy's? Send my regards to Doug, thanks.
Who? All right, let me pause alerts. Are people here? Are you here? You're here? Yeah, people are here. 5,000 people are here. That's fine. All right. I need to explain what we're doing. This is probably going to need multiple explanations. Essentially, this is the type of thing that I would typically do off stream, where I would think about it a lot and like get the core thing working, and then maybe I do a little bit with you guys, and I've done some of that, but for the most part, I'm just gonna, instead of taking today off stream and doing this, I'm just gonna do a bunch of it on stream. So, what exactly are this? Well, the idea that I had is that, you know how in a roguelike game, like Slay the Spire... Hold on. Please hold. While I'm pulling this up, I'll get an alert.
You should give all the AI characters a hard disintegrate gunner with 3 shots each. The twist is that the guns just send the enemies into the future at the final encounter. So basically the more they use the gun, the harder the last encounter will be.
Oh, these are not... Oh, there we go. Maybe. Let me explain what my thought is first.
Doug, will you ever replace chat with AI, or do you love us too much?
No comment.
Hey Doug, stream idea, which can be used for the current stream as well. While coding, if there's any error then the stream ends.
That is not likely to be a very long stream. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I'm just saying it's not likely to be a long stream. Okay. So, I was thinking about Dungeons & Dragons. So, there's 2 Dungeons & Dragons concepts that I want to explore, both of which will take a little bit of time. One is that I want to have a sort of chat versus chat concept, where I bring in guests and they recruit people from chat and then they do like a series of mini battles. And I think that would be really cool, and I'm excited about that idea. That does not involve AI at all. So that's also something I want to do, but that will take a little more prep, and then it, by definition, will involve coordinating with other streamers. So that I think will be really fun. But before that, I want to do so I was thinking about, okay, how could we do Dungeons & Dragons with an AI, where the AIs are the players? Again, this is not to say the only Dungeons & Dragons I'm going to do is with AIs, but I think it's an interesting concept of having AIs play Dungeons & Dragons. So what does that look like? And then I thought, okay, maybe instead of designing one single campaign that the AI players have to go through, what if we make it like a roguelike? Okay, so the idea is that instead of like just creating a linear campaign that goes from A to B, instead, kind of like a map from Slay the Spire, which is like a roguelike, it's random. They're given like random scenarios and they can sort of choose what scenario to go in. But the core idea is that instead of making like 5 scenes that are set in stone, we make like 20 or 30 that are kind of templates. And then what we do is that instead of viewing it as a single stream, we view it as like we get to do attempts at getting through the D&D campaign. So every single stream, we would, as like collectively, you and me, chat, would design 3 AIs. We design their personality, how they fight, what they do. So we build 3 characters and then we send them out into this D&D world that we've set up and see if they can make it to the end. So the idea is instead of one single stream, we've set up a concept where we can rerun it multiple times, and depending on the personalities and what happens, we see how far they can get. I think it's a really cool idea. So that's what I'm starting to think about. We are prompt engineers. Yeah, exactly. So I think, because like, there'd be like 2 elements of randomness, right? It's like what the AIs, 3 elements. It's like what the AIs choose to do, what personalities they've been given, and what scenarios they come up against. So in theory, so I've been looking into some like map making tools like Dungeon Alchemist or Dungeon Draft. And so what I would like to do today is pitch this to you guys and then come up with a general idea of how this would work. So specifically, we need to figure out the following. Let me put on more music. Bam. Consider it pitched. No, I've pitched for sure. No, we've gotten pitched. Actually, let me make a new. Okay, so there's a couple things that we need to do. First off, I've explained the general concept. Next up, we need to figure out like what is the overall game structure of this? Like, what does this actually mean? I have some ideas for like they have to beat like 5 gems. I'll explain this in a sec. Then, how do I make the maps? Dungeon Draft? Dungeon Alchemist? Shitty Microsoft Paint? So, like, how would I actually design each sort of scene or room that they would engage with? And then lastly, what are the random scenarios? I have a bunch that I've either ChatGPT'd or thought of myself. And then we can actually pick what they are. And then I can start building them off screen, and then we can, get into making this thing actually happen. So what I would like to do today is like come up with the general plan, kind of specific structure of how this stream concept works, and then and then I will build out the assets that I need to off stream, and then in theory, maybe later this week we can send it and do a round of it. So that is what's happening. Okay, we're not talking about Paint yet. So first off, the overall game structure, and let me actually write a little bit of this in text down at the bottom.
Hey Doug, your content is the best and I enjoy your chaotic energy. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Designing a...
I personally believe that it's okay to eat babies. They're delicious and they can't defend themselves, so I kidnap and eat babies almost every week. Just kidding, I didn't include a message in my donation and so Doug put this message into the code to slander me.
A lot of people eat babies in our community, it turns out.
It's a 2-year subscription.
Riff Magician, thank you.
Please let one of the players be Chris Snock a broken bar. Also scanning for fingerprint.
What am I writing down here? We are...
Portugal scored. This may or may not be true because of TTS delay.
Designing roguelike D&D campaign for AIs. Yeah, I think that's all we need. I don't need to write
thanks
this
for
stuff.
specifically pinging me in the Discord that you were about to stream.
You're welcome. Oh, did I ping the wrong person or something?
Hey Doug, related to the Obama Plays Pokemon, recently the Pi Plays Pokemon has finally beat the first rival battle after 2.5 years.
Oh my god.
Alright, bye Doug, I love you. Not
pinged only
parasocially though.
It is annoying that people are naming themselves Early Gang in the community or in the Discord and making me ping them.
Every now and then just
But
drop
also
a
it's funny,
reference
so I don't care
about
too much.
explosively poopy diapers, and over time start talking about more until you and Diarrhea Doug are indistinguishable, and just have him take over an entire stream.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. We can definitely have people shit themselves. All right, I will give a heads up. This is the type of stream where I'm going to be talking a lot, so I'm going to have the alerts paused a lot. So if you're trying to use text-to-speech as a way to get your opinion in about whatever we're currently talking about, it's probably going to be really far behind. So I would recommend just typing in chat because I'm more likely to see that. Let us begin. We got to figure out structure. In fact, let me actually put that in the currently figuring out the structure of the campaign. Timer? We don't... There's nothing... There is no time. There's no time... What?
Hey Doug, how do you get the three eyes to talk to each other? Is each eye stored in a dictionary or something along those lines? I'm a novice programmer and I tried doing this before with 3 separate programs, but it didn't work as fluid as what you had. Any nerdy advice is appreciated. Love you.
There's 3 different threads for what I did last time. There's 3 different threads, so each one is a thread that has a agent class that's doing a run function. And then this run function is basically waiting until it's activated by another thread, and then it does the whole it does its whole process, and it updates the other agent's chat history. So each one, there are 3 different threads that are all doing their own thing, and then they just interact with each other. I don't know if that clarifies what is different from how you're doing it. Okay. Ideas. How do we want to do this? So, in theory, we would come up with...
subscription.
That's cash in the trash.
In theory, we would come up with, let's say, 20 or 30 scenarios that can be sort of swapped out. The scenarios could be, we could have, like, the... I don't know how to draw this well. So it could be... So let's say we could have... the setting is chosen randomly, right? The setting is chosen randomly, and then the NPCs in the setting are also chosen randomly. NPCs. And then there's some sort of twist. This is not being written out very well. And then there's some sort of twist that we decide. So with every single scenario that they go into, we would say, okay, here's the random setting. They're on a bridge over, over a giant, like, cliff or something. And then here are the random people who are there and what they want. And then here's something that we, you, and me decide is going to be different based on the characters and their personalities and what's happened so far. although on the other hand, maybe we just want to have each scenario be I'm not organizing this well. I'm diving into the scenarios already. High level. Start high level. I got to focus. What is the broad goal of what they are trying to do? This is too happy of music. What is the broad goal of what they're trying to do? In theory, it could be like they are trying to get through 5 different scenarios. And if they can survive in all 5 scenarios, then they win the campaign. And congratulations, our team actually made it to the end. In theory, it's like these are just picked randomly, right? So each one of these scenarios is picked randomly from our pool of random scenarios. And then maybe the very last one is always the same. Like this is the boss, and the boss is always the same. I'm not asking for specific scenarios right now. We're asking for the high-level structure of how the game works. It could just be like this, that it's linear, right? So we start and we say, okay, here's the first scene that you have entered, AIs. Here's the second scene, right? And so they go through these one at a time, and they're trying to progress through them. Another option is that we could have it be more like a Slay the Spire type of thing, where the scenarios are, instead of being picked randomly, they get to decide where to go next. So we're like, hey, this is... on one path, you have a scenario where there's a creaky bridge, and over here, there's a tavern that looks like there's a party going on. What do you want to do? And so we kind of give them options. And in this case, we would probably set the map up one time, and then they're just picking the route through the map, right? So instead, it would be kind of like the Paint Total Improv D&D, where there's like a fork that they go up, and that would be sort of similar to Slay the Spire, where you're given, it's a randomly generated map, but it's like a tree, yeah. So it's like a tree that they choose to progress through. And that way, like, they decide how they want to progress through the sort of world, I guess. And each decision that they make, like, it's you're going to, like, this scene is always going to be like the cave scene or whatever. And then, maybe it, like, gets back up. These go back up here to this scene. And these go to this scene or whatever. And this goes to this scene or this scene. And then all of these go to the final boss. I think the final boss should always be, like, a consistent thing. But in theory, we always start the AIs with, like, scenario 1, or maybe they pick. Maybe this is, like, the start of the game. Like, we're like, okay, you are here. Where do you want to go next? And then at this point, they're like, we want to go left or we want to go right, and they pick from there. Let me read. Again, I am not asking for ideas about what the scenarios are. We'll get to that. That's later. Right now, we're trying to figure out what the structure of this is. I like the decisions one. The only downside with this kind of structure is that some of these are going to be less likely to be picked, Whereas if it's, like, totally random, if by contrast, they just go from one block to the next, and it's like they don't make a decision, but each block is picked randomly, like 1 out of 30 different scenarios, right? The benefit of this one is each scenario has the equal chance of being chosen, but it does feel like it's a little bit less of an adventure to, like, see what they do. I feel like both have pros and cons, to be honest. Are there any strong thoughts about this, or if there's any other ideas? Quality over quantity. I mean, so again, like, I think the idea is either way, I'm going to come up with, like, 20 different scenarios. And it's really just how they choose to progress through this. Like, so for people who missed it earlier, the idea is that I want this to be a stream that is repeatable, right? That it feels like it's different every time. So I don't want a situation where they're just picking the same couple scenarios every time, even though it would be different inherently because they are different every time. Like, for people who missed it, we would design 3 new AI characters at the beginning of every stream, and then we see how they do and what they choose to progress through. They choose categories, not scenarios. Yeah. Go in tavern or dungeon. Yeah, I guess we could do that as well. So there's, like, some degree of randomness. I feel like for simplicity, there's some degree of, like, wanting it to be really clear to the viewer, you guys, of what's happening. if it depends how many streams you want this to go for. I don't know. I would assume at least like 3 streams. I would want to try this because this feels very repeatable and fun. Too happy. Randomize. I mean, yeah, because I could also, if we do this tree approach, I could randomize the placement of everything. It doesn't have to. You know, we can swap all of the placement so that that way it's like it's not like if they always happen to go kind of right, left, right, left, right, left. It's always the same ones. So essentially we would pick like 20, we would design 20 scenarios in advance. We would put them onto the board, and then sort of at the beginning of every stream,
That's
I would
cash
just,
in the trash.
you know, in this case it's 10. I would just swap where they all are. Maybe we'd start with like 10 scenarios to keep it simpler. But I kind of, this is the type of idea where I feel like I want to get a rough draft just like made without putting in a ton of work, because I feel like once we try this concept, we'll have ideas about how to make it better. So I don't need to like immensely overanalyze things, but yeah, different classes of scenarios. Yeah, so that's another idea, is instead of saying this is scenario 10, this is where you have to like talk to this king inside of a castle. It's just sort of like, oh, to the right you see a castle, and then it picks from a group of different castle scenarios. Let's do a poll. So option 1 is it's just like, another thing to kind of think about. How many scenarios do we think we should go through? My thought is 5. So the idea is like, from the start of the campaign to the end, they have to complete 5 total rooms. And that is largely based off of the 2 Dungeons & Dragons campaigns that I've done on stream so far, which gives us a nice like 4 to 5 hour long stream. So if we did 5, it would be like 4 random ones, and then the 5th is like a final boss that's more consistent. 5 is all right? Okay, so the idea is like either... Oh, this looks like shit. Hold on. Let me get some alerts going in the background.
Hey Doug, first time donating.
Hello.
Thanks for the great entertainment over the past few years, less than 3.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. So the idea is that it would be like you have to beat scenario 1, and then
Hey
if you
Doug,
survive it,
have
you
you
go to
ever
scenario
considered
2.
something like the Quarry, where you and Twitch chat take turns on making decisions, and you do a punishment each time a character dies?
I have not, but that could be fun. It's a good idea. And then you go to boss.
Hey Doug, I met you at open source and you stole my Sharpie. I tried to ask for it back, but you sucker punched me and told me to get lost.
That second part is
Can
not
I
true.
have it back?
No.
It was my ex-wife's and meant a lot to me.
No, I fought you in fair combat. It's mine now. I did accidentally steal somebody's Sharpie, though. That is true. Okay, so are we in agreement? It seems like most people are on board with this. The idea is that in every campaign, they have to survive and get through each, like, one scenario, and then scenario 2, and then scenario 3, and then scenario 4, and then the final boss scenario. And these first 4 are random, and the final boss is, like, consistent. Because that way I can just plan one interesting final boss. Again, this might be a tree structure, or it might be random like this, but the number of them is 5. Okay, so we have a couple options here for how the structure of this would work. It's like a reverse binary tree. Yeah, basically. Although I'd want the tree to to come back in, so it'd be more of like a diamond. All right, what structure of the campaign? So we could do 5 randomly chosen scenarios, or 4 randomly chosen scenarios, then the boss. So in this case, option 1 is I basically just say, okay, AIs, you are here. This is what's happening, and we just pick one out of the 30 scenarios to go, and then they don't really pick anything. After scenario 1, they automatically get moved to scenario 2, which I've picked randomly from 30 different options. If they beat all 4, they move on to the boss, who's consistent. That's option 1. Another is they progress through a tree, then the boss. So this would be this situation where they start here and I say, hey, here's what you have to the left, here's what you have to the right. And then if they survive this one, then they get to pick the next 2, and so on. And eventually, after 4 rounds of it, they would make their way to the boss. This would be very similar to Slay the Spire for people who have that knowledge, or, you know, any of these games that have this type of, like, you know, inscription or whatever. They progress through a tree, then the boss. And then I think the other idea is, like, progress through a tree of random random themes, then the boss. So this is similar to this tree concept. The idea, though, is that instead of saying, hey, AIs, this is a scenario where you're in a tavern and you have to, like, stop a bar fight, and this is a scenario where you have to talk to merchants over a bridge. Instead, I just say, hey, to your right, there's a tavern, and to your left, there's a castle. We don't, like, tell them what is actually there, and then it's randomized within that. So it would be like, this is chosen one of the 5 random castle scenarios. This is one of the 5 random tavern scenarios. The downside about this is I don't know if I'm going to have, like, that many scenarios. Like, ideally, I want to make 20, so I don't know if this makes... I feel like we would need, like, 100 different scenarios for that to work. But, I mean, if people are really excited about that concept, we can do that.
Baldur's Gate 3, but chat controls another character and chat god picks a new chatter every 5 minutes.
I still haven't played Baldur's Gate. I really would like to. Okay, so a lot of people are doing this.
The ID fake Doug using today is really good, but thought he would make sure it wasn't bald.
Why are people so excited about this one?
Rosa just died, so she will be in heaven with God in the Sam slash and your hairline.
The AI has more freedom. Not really. It's so. Hold on.
This sounds like you want to milk this idea because you're feeling lazy and don't feel like coming up with new ideas.
I assume you're being facetious, but I actually think this is a really, really creative, cool idea. But it is also true that it would be nice to have some. It'd be nice to have stream ideas that I can repeat multiple times that have variety with them, because as you may have noticed, more and more of the streams I'm doing are requiring a bunch of prep time and coding, but then I only get to do one stream out of them. So if I can do a stream where there's like really genuine variety and interest while still having the same core like structure set up, that would be great, because then I can just do more streams. Okay, let me just explain the kind of difference here of what option 1 versus option 2 is. Or sorry, excuse me, option 3 versus option 2. Yeah. Sorry, my brain's not good today, right? I told you I'm tired and I'm dumb. Okay. So, what we're going to say is the players start here, right? And then we're going to tell them, okay, you can go left and here's a scenario or a scene or whatever, and you can go, right, or you can go left and here's a scenario. And then from here, this branches off into multiple, right? This branches off into multiple. And so on. So, in either case, it sounds like we're set on a tree. We're happy about a tree, okay? The question is, which is each one of these slots in the tree an exact predetermined scenario, or is it picked randomly from a category? So, option 1 is that I say, hey AIs, to the left, there is a tavern. There is a tavern. Now, to the AI, this is a tavern regardless. I'm just going to say there's a tavern to your left. And the question is whether I have decided in advance we know that this is scenario A, or is this one of 3 potential scenarios, A, B, or C? And then we pick randomly. From the AI perspective, I'm still just going to say there's a tavern. But the question is, do we know exactly what that scenario is in advance, or am I picking randomly from a group? The challenge with this is that I need to have like 3 different... Oops. I need to have 3 different, like, tavern scenarios. I feel like if it's pulled randomly from a pool, I guess then we would have multiple okay, so we did this version with like it pulling random. We would need to have multiple taverns. So this would also be a tavern. And this is like castle. And over here is also castle. So, like, there's categories, right? Where we have tavern, and then we've decided 3 scenarios in advance for the tavern. We have, like, A, B, and C. And then we have castle. And we have these different, like, maybe, you know, 6 or 7 different, like, themes. Etc. And so the theme would appear multiple times on the tree, and then it picks randomly from one of the scenarios within that theme. Does that make sense? Stop trying to talk us out of it. The more scenario... It's not more or less scenarios. Like, it's the same number of total scenarios. I'm not understanding why you guys are really passionate about this version. This feels more confusing, like, from a viewer perspective, versus just saying, like, this is the scene where you do... This is scene A, and then scene B is over here, and this is castle scene A, and this is castle scene B, rather than having it be random. It's not more reusability, because it's the same total number of scenes regardless. It's just whether... It's the same thing. It's exactly the same. It's just rearranging the map. There is no difference. If I just take the whole tree and then rearrange the placement of all of them, that's the exact same thing. 3 is still better. It's the same. It's not any different. Doug, I think you're confused. No, I'm not. We want chaos. It's not actually different. 3 is more than 2. Yeah, no, I do know that, but make a poll for 2 or 3, but... So, okay, dude, I just want to make sure people understand what's going on. The difference is that if we have 10 scenarios in advance, we put the placement of the 10 randomly in advance. Alternatively, we have, like, themes placed randomly, and the themes are then picked randomly from a pool, but it's the same thing. I have to design the same number of scenarios. If you don't like 3, why did you make an option? Well, because we're talking about it. Yeah, you're right. This option is boring if the order is the same every time. But if before every stream I mix up the order, then it's the same thing. I mean, we can vote on it. What do you want? Tree with specified slots that randomly change. Tree with general slots that randomly change. It's like the same thing. It's just the same. Like, it just... Arguably, this is more confusing of a solution, because then I need to be like, oh, now we go to the tavern pool. I'm ignoring democracy. Trey, get out of here. Oh, wait, no, you voted for what I want. Trey, what? Stay here. This is dumb. You're dumb. How dare you?
Have you heard of Peglin? It's a roguelike Peggle game.
I sure have. All right. I am glad that we had this long discussion. I will now promptly ignore everything you guys have asked me for. And we're doing my version. Okay, the main point here is that we picked a tree, okay? And we can decide how the tree works later. Look, I'm receptive to talking about this later once we've come up with the scenes. We'll come back to this later on. The key thing... Look, you don't have to be upset, because the key thing is that the tree won. Yeah. Tree. Where's the tree gang at? Yeah. Boo, it's still a tree. It's literally a tree. You're gonna be fine. Okay, so, to recap, the structure of the campaign of what we are doing is that we are going to have, we're going to have the AIs start. Hello? Why are you doing this? Why are you making noises instead of... The AIs are going to have a starting location. They are going to get to choose to go left or right in the tree. This will be a randomly filled scenario that they get to choose from. The tree will then expand. Maybe we do like 4 like this. And let me actually just make this look decent. Tell you what, we can even change how the tree looks in between each one. So this is round 1, this is round 2. Let's say round 3 has this option, and this, but also has this option. And this goes here, and this goes to these two. I don't know. And then we'll do, round 4 is here.
Hello Douglas. Long time viewer. First time caller. How do you think I should ask chat out on a date? Thanks a bunch. Kiss kiss.
Politely?
Oh my god, Doug, bend your head down again. It's a Christmas miracle, Teresa, grey hair and the baldness. Also, we should collect 7 pages and have Slender and dragons.
I was thinking gems. But hold on, I'll explain what that means.
Hey, have you considered taking suggestions for new stream music? Also, here's a suggestion for some stream music. There's some old mobile game called Hyperflex with the best first level song ever, Shaft by Purely Grey. Probably not copyright.
Mobile games are shockingly copyright heavy. They like to put copyright stuff in their games.
I just wanted to waste bits. Have some bits I found on the floor. Love you.
I don't want your garbage bits, alright? This is like when you go to an arcade and you find, like, free tokens under, like, grimy, gooey tokens
Doug,
underneath the arcade machines. It's like,
TTS
at some point you just gotta let it
leave the
be
stream,
there, right?
But I realized lots of other people probably also do that.
No,
Enjoy
thank you for
your
the bits.
6 cumulative dollars. I will still be leaving the stream though. Sorry.
It's all good. Thanks, Skyler. Alright, so, this is the beginning, and then this is round 1. This is round 2. This is round 3. This is round 4. And this is final. Round 5. Okay, I need more hype music so you guys think this is an exciting stream, because it's not. Okay. So, this is not visually very clear, is it? Burn the tree. Not my tree. It's a good... This isn't even the part that we were debating. The tree itself is the same. Okay, so the idea is that we will design 3 AIs, and we will tell them, okay, you are here. To your left is a whatever, and to your right is a whatever. If they manage to survive this scenario A, then from A, they get to choose, oh, do you want to go to C or D? And if they survive E, they get to go E or F. Sorry, if they survive B, then they get to choose whether to go to E or F. And then the tree will sort of advance past here. F. I literally forgot the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Cool. So this would mean we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Oh, I missed one. This is Z. So what? This is 10. We'd have like 13 scenarios or something like this. You missed. I'm not this isn't like a first-person shooter. So this is the general structure of how we would do this. I would make this look a little bit nicer, obviously. But in general, it's like they have to make it through and succeed in 5 different scenarios to make it to the boss, and then they see if they win. See? And even if you think this is a bad stream, listen to the music. See? Isn't this exciting? Should we have a starting scenario? So, all right, now we need to pick what is the like theme of what they're doing, right? So in each scenario, and we're going to come up with the scenarios shortly. We're starting to come up with like what specifically they're doing in each one of these like levels, right? Maybe I should call it levels instead of scenario. So if they go to level A, we're going to give them a goal. It's like, okay, you have to cross a bridge or whatever. But what if I feel like it could be like you have to collect 4 gems in order to unlock the boss chamber or something. Because a lot of the scenarios that I'm coming up with, I think that what is probably going to be most interesting with having AIs play Dungeons and Dragons is not really combat. I think it's more going to be them choosing weird interactions with people, and then combat can happen, right? So if, for example, they go to a bridge over a river, and there's merchants that demand that they buy or sell a very valuable item before they'll be allowed to pass the bridge. The bridge is incredibly creaky and seems like it might snap at any moment. This to me is like a cool scenario, right? It's not really about combat, right? It's more combat can happen if they choose to like attack the merchants or whatever, but it's more about like how do they choose to deal with the different variables at play here. And so, they will fight the bridge. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do. So if there's a scenario like this, I think what would be helpful is to give the AI a very clear goal. If each scenario is kind of arbitrary, it's just like, oh, you can just leave at any point. I feel like it's going to be kind of too confusing. By contrast, what they could do is say every scenario has a precious gem or something, right? A precious gem that they must acquire. Then they can move on. So each scenario would be like, okay, the merchants have a gem that they are willing to give to the AIs, right? And that way it's very clear to the AIs, like, this is what you need to do. Can the goal be to burn the tree? They can, if there's a tree, they can burn it down if they want. An anal bead. So it's less about the precious gem and more the idea that instead of having a totally different goal with each level or scenario, we give them a very specific thing, which is like, you have to do this. And then if you do this, you can move on. And I think that will be, better than having it be vague. So I'm curious, what do people think? Am I crazy here? Or am I really smart? Whether it's a gem or whatever, it doesn't matter. But, like, giving them a specific thing they have to collect, right? Because alternatively, it's like, here's a bridge. You have to get past the bridge. And we could definitely do that. It's just going to be kind of vague, right? It's like, okay, a prison they get trapped in. They have to find a way out. Like, that's a cool idea, but then it's like, at what point are they escaped from prison? It might be kind of hard for the AI to understand that. For a human, it would be easy, but for an AI, it might be like, you have to get the gem in the thing. They're trapped in a tavern that's being attacked on all sides by vampires. They must survive 10 turns before daylight saves them. It might be easier to be like, if you guys survive 10 turns, then you get this gem, rather than telling them you have to survive 10. Oh, this one's pretty clear for the AIs, but... like a party where everybody is masked, they must find the leader of the party in the party in order to escape and must figure out who he is. This is kind of a half-baked idea, but like, there's like this weird, interesting thing that they have to do. And then maybe in this case, we say the party leader has the gem. So I would kind of like reframe every scenario so that there's a very, very clear thing they have to do. This is normally a little, this would be kind of boring and railroady for human players, but I think for AI, it's probably good. Okay, what is the goal in each scenario? It could be custom made. For example, depends on the scenario. So with each scenario, it's like you just have to accomplish this specific goal. Acquire a specific item. If we do like a gem, if we do acquire a specific item, then like every scenario we would design around that of like you have to do a thing to get the gem and then you can move on. The gems are how they pay taxes. Right now we're talking about the high level like format of this, not the specific of what they're trying to do. So we can just say burn 5 trees. We can say that the overall scenario is that they're in a tree that's on fire or something. Why don't we get to play? I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the stream, I have a D&D idea that involves human players, and this one involves AI players. Right now, I want to try this one, but I'm working on the other one too. With option 1, their actions can be more nuanced. This is true. I'm just worried it's basically... The question is, do we want to give them a really, really specific goal in each scenario or leave it open-ended, right? If they go into a tavern, here's my concern. If we're like, you enter a tavern and there's 2 guys at the bar who are in a huge fight and they're just like totally, yelling at each other and the bartender's desperately trying to stop them from fighting. What do you choose to do? Right? In a normal D&D campaign, it'd be kind of obvious of like, okay, go interact with the people and like see what's up and maybe ask them what's happening. But what if one of the AIs is just like, I leave the tavern. Are they done? Okay, cool. You did it. You beat option A and now you win and you go off to option C. That's my concern, is like they just won't engage with it. If there isn't a really specific thing they have to accomplish, then they might just leave. Whereas if it's like, no, you have to get the thing, then it would, like, they can still, we give them a lot of options for how to get the thing. It is a little bit railroady, I guess. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out here. I mean, I can show you some of the other scenarios I've thought of. Go to a museum, there are precious artifacts that will power them up, but there's a huge security golem who will attack them if they take it. This is another scenario where it's like, okay, that's a funny situation, right? Do they choose, do one of the AIs try to steal one of the items and then the security golem is attacking them? And then do they run or whatever? But they could just leave. You know, they could just leave. So like in a situation like this, what incentive do they have to steal anything? You know? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah? Yeah? Is there a way to make them crazy? So for people who missed the beginning, the whole concept of this stream idea is that we're gonna like make this map of random scenarios in advance. And then the part that we're doing, you and me, is at the beginning, we will design 3 personalities. So we're going to make 3 totally ridiculous characters who have different goals and decision-making and incentives and all that. And then we're going to see if those 3 people can make it upwards through the whole campaign. So we're going to design people who are presumably a little bit nuts. But because they're going to be kind of insane, that's my concern, is like, if they are totally like lunatic people, then they might just not do anything and never accomplish any goal. And that's what I'm concerned about. Why don't we test this on one of your AIs? Well, because they're going to be different every time. We want this to be as flexible as possible. Which sounds like you'd want it to be as open-ended as possible, but I think you kind of need guardrails because the AI personalities are going to be so all over the place. If they don't succeed, I guess it could just be that, yeah, they don't get bonuses. So, okay. That's interesting. What if, instead of trying to, with every level that they go into, instead of, you are in scenario A, you must acquire the precious gemerald. And once you get it, you can move on to scenario D. We could just be like, there is an item that will help you in the final boss. So it's like, in scenario A, they could just leave, but there is a sword or whatever. And they can try to get the sword. And then if they get the sword, that means in the final boss, they'll actually have something to attack with. The quantum gemerald. I mean, we can give sure, the sword can have a gemerald or whatever. Because that way, it is funny if they go into scenario A and there's a tavern and there's 2 people fighting. And then they just leave. And they just move on. So it's like, okay, great, you made it to round 2, but you didn't, like, make yourself any better. The challenge with that is that then we also basically need to have, like, a whole difficulty system. That sounds really cool on paper, but then, like, how difficult is the boss? Is it, like, he has 10 hearts, and then with each thing they get, it's gonna do more damage, or, like... And then we still have to define... Yeah, and then we have to come up with, like, a shitload of different things. That means there's, like, tons of different stuff that we have to come up with to make this work. I'm trying to have this not be, like, a gargantuanly large project, so that I can just get going with it. But if anyone in the AI cast Magic Missile? What's up, T? Not yet. We're getting there. But one of the when we design the AI personalities, one of them can just the only words he knows how to say is I cast Magic Missile. Because it could, okay, let's propose 2 general scenarios here, okay? Scenario 1. They have to collect the precious gemerald from every scenario. That is a beautiful looking gem. Beautiful. Wow, I want that gemerald. So there is like a key or a gem or something in every scenario that they have the option to get. So we give them a specific thing that each scenario has. It's kind of like, you know how in the old N64 games like Banjo-Kazooie, you'd go talk to an NPC And they'd be like, oh, if you help me find my son, he's out snowboarding. If you bring him back, I'll give you this Jiggy. Like, all the people in the world just, like, have these things. Or it's like Mario Odyssey or something, for if you're younger. Where, you know, random NPCs will just be like, hey, do this task for me, and then I'll give you the thing that you need to save the world. In theory, each of the NPCs here, like, have a Quantum Gemerald, okay? And then Gemerald, sure, they have a Gemerald. And they have to get 4 of them to unlock the boss chamber. So that is option 1. You must acquire 4 items to unlock the boss. And option 2, which I think is good in that it's like very structured and clear. It's also very like easily creatable right now. That's not going to take a shit ton of time to do. Each scenario has a custom bonus that helps with the boss. So in this one, each scenario is a little more flexible of like, hey, if you want to, this location here has some sort of like sword that will make the boss easier. You can choose to engage with it or not. I think this is, oh man, some downsides about that is it's more likely that the AIs are just going to like blitz through a bunch of these scenarios without doing anything. But then it is really funny. Man, there's a lot of pros and cons here. Hope to see you at TwitchCon. Yeah, I'll be at TwitchCon, T. I will, or the San Diego one. Not Rotterdam, which is over right now anyway, so that's probably obvious. Could mix them both. Well, how do we mix them both? I feel like you kind of need to pick one or the other. Either there's like a thing they need to acquire from every scenario to unlock the boss, or there's something that can help them. And then if they get it, they move on. So the challenge with an item that helps them in the boss is we then need to figure out like, what does that actually mean? It becomes more about the rules of D&D and balancing it rather than like balancing the game, because then it's like, okay, what does the boss have, like 10 hearts? And then if you get a weapon, it now does 2 hearts instead, or you increase the number of hearts you have or something. If we do this version where it's largely about scenario, like a bonus that helps with the boss, the overall vibe becomes it's about a boss fight and prepping for a boss fight. It's less about the kind of weird journey as they get there, which is not right or wrong. It's just different. Yeah, or the boss's weekend or whatever. Yeah, my concern, I just feel like this adds a lot of complexity. Like custom bonuses that help with boss, I think that's really cool, but that's like designing a legitimate like video game where we need to really have like a lot of numbers and stuff. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, Brad. Like, scenario 1, like, you have to acquire 4 items to unlock the boss, is like old Zelda, where it's like, you must do this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and now you're at the boss. This is like Breath of the Wild, where you can go straight to Ganon, but you're probably fucked. And the more time you spend, like, you know, gearing up and getting weapons and leveling up and whatnot, the better it'll be. But it's funny if the AI just makes their life way worse. But also, then it's kind of stupid if they go through this and they get to the boss and it's just impossible and we know they're going to die. And it's like kind of a waste of time as well. Okay, I feel like we were pretty split on this, right? Let me redo the vote. I don't want to just do mini bosses because I want to not lean into combat too much. I think combat would be the most boring element of this. I think it'd be far more interesting of them deciding weird shit to do with people. So in general, I'm trying to, like, it's not to say there isn't going to be combat, but I want to not have that be like a core part of what's going on. Well, no, it will be a core part. Not have that be like over 50% of what's happening. I'll put it that way. Like less common, you know what I mean?
My careers advisor asked me who was my inspiration and I said Yulong.
They might have been concerned about your job prospects.
DND, but you start at level 20, then as the game progresses you de-level and are level 1 to 2 by the final fight.
I mean, you can do that. Okay, let's start with this. What I'm trying to do a little bit right now...
Double, could we try crowdsourcing voice models? I have a decent deep voice for TTS and I volunteer. Okay, love you, Doug. Say it back.
All right, bye, Doug. I love you. Yeah, I might do that at some point, of having of crowdsourced voices. Okay, we're gonna go with option 1. You have to acquire 4 items to unlock the bus. However, this whole conversation today is about getting a first draft of this thing made. I want to just get a version of this done, because then, and ideally we lean on simpler decisions. Because if we get a first version of this done, we can see how it feels and then update it. We can be like, hey, it's kind of boring for them to just get a gem rolled in every single scenario. It's more interesting if they get level ups. Then, like, once the core thing is made, then it'll be easier to, like, modify that section and add a new, like, mechanic to the whole thing, right? But I think it makes more sense to start with something that's simpler to just get going. So we're going to say at every scenario that they're in, they have to acquire the precious Gemerald. Gerald. Yeah, Gemerald Ford. All right.
Hey Doug, do a hybrid. Grab a set amount from the event bag, but they choose from handful. Like a roguelike.
Oh, these are behind. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start with just, there's like, 13 or whatever in advance.
I can't believe you would ping poor Kevin. r/Doug Doug will hear about this.
Why not make it so there's an obstacle in every room? I mean, it's just like I said, this makes it a little clear what they have to do.
This is the first stream I've been able to catch as a European. I'm happy my first one is this riveting.
Yeah, dude, listen to this song right here. That's how you know this is a good stream and exciting.
Create
or whatever.
NPCs with unique quests and randomize them per room. I can make it up how they solve the problem with where they are and what they have.
Well, so I'm going to play the NPCs. We're not going to, like, fully have this be AI, but, like, I would be the NPCs responding to what our 3 AIs do.
My power went out today. I think it might have something to do with your code. Can you please comment out any parts about shutting down the electrical grid?
Yeah. Yeah, I hooked up that module yesterday. I didn't think it would be a problem. Okay.
I wouldn't mind this being a monthly event. I really enjoy the D&D content you do. I'm excited to see how this one will be played out.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I think it'll be cool.
Hey Doug, why not make a 4th eye character or narrator which can also make events for you randomly? That way you can even be more lazy. Chat and you can still input your own ideas as well.
That's a good point. I feel like as much as it's kind of a meme, I don't want to literally have everything be AI. I think AI is more interesting when it's mixed with humans. So I want there to still be a lot of me and you guys influencing what happens. For this particular, I mean, there's obviously a variety of ways you can do this, but for this particular concept, what I want is that the players are AIs and we design them too. So we design the characters. This is a paladin who is deathly afraid of I don't know, hair. and then we set them out into the world and we see how they respond. But it would be up to me to have the world respond to them. And then what I want to do is with every scenario, as they enter each scenario, so let's say they go here, and this scenario D is a castle, and the castle has a king who says, you have to make me laugh. You have to tell me a joke that I think is really, really funny and make my queen laugh. Otherwise, I'm going to have my guards attack you. If you make me laugh, though, you can have my precious gem. But I think with every single scenario, we would have that set up in advance, but then you and I would decide a twist where there's some additional change to the scenario based on what has happened so far. So that way, as the thing progresses and the characters are developing their personalities, we still get to kind of morph what is happening around them a little bit. So that's the other element where I want it to be like we're influencing things as they happen, but then I would be the dungeon master deciding the specifics of how it goes, right? So I want there to be as much as possible of like the humans influencing things. A paladin with the oath of
It doesn't have to be
bald.
a true tree of scenarios. It can just be 5 pairs of scenarios and the ash pick A or B. Then you don't have to come up with as many different scenarios.
That's true. I mean, I think this is like a cool sort of structure. It looks like shit. I'll make it look better, obviously, but
Hey Doug, at 4 p.m. Pacific GDQ will run Spelunky. Can we spectate so we finally see someone good at 2D platformers?
no. Then you guys might leave and not stick around. Alrighty. Next
I
question.
think the important part is that the eye only knows the settings/theme before they choose where to go.
That is definitely true either way with the tree. I'm only going to be like, there's a tavern or there's a castle. I'm not going to tell them what specifically is happening.
Hey Doug, make Parks a boss pretty please. Also love your streams. You are my favorite YouTuber.
Thank you. Parks will probably not be a boss.
I hate money.
Thank you, Sven. Don't we all? Money's overrated. All right, let me
Make
show
the tree
you.
spin.
What? No.
Hey Doug,
A few different options.
made a new D&D character who runs a food-based mafia. He worships the holy virgin olive oil. As I designed him, you very much became the inspiration for his god. He's bald and a virgin like you.
Good. As long as he's worshiping me, that's all that matters. All right. We now have.
What you've
Hey.
depicted isn't a tree. A tree is a special case of a directed acyclic graph, which this is, but for it to be a tree each node can only have one parent node. So you scam chat that way. But both options are exactly the same in terms of
Fine, it's a
randomizing
graph.
the graph.
It's
the
a graph. Fine.
random option
You are
is
technically
just harder
correct,
to
yes.
implement.
This part ruins it being a tree. Oh wait, no, and this layer too.
Make the boss a TV game show host
And
who
this layer.
keeps leading adventurers into this choose a door dungeon. Then it's random and they pick left or right doors. Then you can make an evil eye game show host beg that taunts the eyes.
I like that. It just doesn't fit with like the Dungeons and Dragons fantasy theme. That is actually a really fun idea. Okay, I'm gonna pause alerts again for a little bit. Let us continue. Next up, we must decide how I am going to make the scenarios, and then finally we will come up with the scenarios themselves. I want as much as possible for this to be something that is quick, that I can do rapidly without it being a huge time sink for every single thing. With the Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I did last year, that took a shit ton of time to make all the maps in Photoshop. Yes, I am aware that I could have AI do it. Well, no, not really. I don't want to use AI for varying reasons. And then I'm aware I could hire somebody to make the maps. However, in a perfect world, I would like to find a solution where I can rapidly do it. I think that's fun for me to be able to like quickly put stuff together. Maybe this is something I outsource in the future, but in theory, I want to be able to quickly put together maps. So there are a couple tools to be able to do that. So if we want to have, I don't know, like a tavern or whatever, this is called Dungeon Draft, and you can really quickly just like make buildings and stuff. So if I want a building here, boom, we have a building. If I want this part with concrete, boom, now we have that. Let's see. We want a door at the front, door there, boom. How do I move the camera? Hello? Why is it stuck? Why is it not letting me there we go. You can have terrain back here, like dirt and stuff. Why is the brush size so we have a cool like terrain thing and sand back here or whatever. Actually, let's do a different settlement. Let's do rainforest. So we do somewhere in the forest, right? And whatever. Can also have water that like goes through. Wait, what? No. Brush, boom. So you can have like water that comes through and fills the place out like this. So maybe there's a bunch of water up here. And now there's water. Cool. And then in our building itself, let's say we have, I don't know, let's be like, okay, there's a brick place back here as well, and there's a brick storeroom back here. So then within this place, let's say we put some objects, I haven't dove too much into this really. Let's say this is like a bedroom, and how do I move I feel like this wasn't a problem before. I don't know how to move. Ah, there we go. You can also like pick multiple beds and then do scatter, and then it'll kind of like randomly throw them around. Cool. There's our really good-looking bedroom. We'll put a fire out here. Why is it... Here. While I'm making this, I'll let the...
Hey Doug, if you're looking for non-copyrighted music, you should try the alphabet song. It might be helpful for you, you idiot.
Wait, why can't I... Oh, because I need to just be scattered.
Hi Doug. I usually start watching a stream and then leave the tab open. When I come back, sometimes days later, I find myself on some random person's page or stream. For instance, I left a stream tab open last week. I came back and found myself watching a stream by Feria.
That is funny. Okay, anyway, you know, we'll put, like, if there's a tavern, you know, here's
Found these bits inside my sofa. They are crusty and I don't know how long they have been, but I'll give them to you.
I don't...
You seem to need them.
Okay, and then here's a bench or whatever.
Doug, can we have armadillo facts? If not gorilla facts, if not then Jacobin Club facts. I am just joking, Mr. Redden in the camp game. Also, can one of the classes be a highly skilled half-elf rogue and does more than one actions per turn using the cunning action in 5e, and in 5e half-elf rogues can have 6 to 8 skills on level 1. Also, can we have a lawful stupid paladin named Douglas D?
No.
Redden. Doug, we should have it be a more normal D&D theme. Also, when can we play?
That's a lot of questions. Dude, why is it reset every time? That's annoying.
I think the mode where chat is not involved at all may be too boring for chat, so I propose that chat plays the NPCs. Twitch chat playing the NPCs makes sense from a community perspective, as well as NPCs change throughout the stream. Also, we've never had chat on this side of the eye interaction. Some great streams such as Napoleon have eye in spots of power. This also fixes your problem with roleplay, where in a previous stream you mentioned you don't like roleplay.
Yes.
Hey Doug,
agreed.
how about having an overarching IO chat that judges the solutions they come up with and gives them points between 1 and 6 or 12? This would replace rolling dice and the gems they would receive to continue.
Again, I mentioned it earlier. I want to have some element of human, so I don't want to replace the dungeon master with AI.
Make the custom goal specific, like stop the argument or escape from this prison, and then define in the characters that they always have to specify in detail what they do. Just a gem would be kinda boring and ho.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a key. I don't, we can decide what exactly it is.
Idea: the Asher need to get 4 keys.
Where
They can
is,
choose
like,
to leave a
tables?
scenario, but they won't get the key. The Ash know they need the keys, so eventually they will have to engage. If they run out of scenarios before getting 4 keys, they auto-fail. When you will get this.
Potentially.
We need a backstory for Jim. How did he lose all of his gym rolls?
Okay, whatever. This doesn't look good. This is fine. I would, you know, I'll learn how to... Oh, that's more what I was looking for.
Doug's party is finding the 7 Anarchy gym rolls, which is ironic because Doug was streaming a game that involved Sonya and doing a challenge that involved it. I am not joking.
Okay, so, let me pause alerts again. So, that took, what, like 5
Doug,
minutes?
this is for the second Twitch chat plays D&D, not your eyes. Can one of the classes be a highly skilled half-elf rogue and does more than 1 actions per turn using the cunning action in 5e, and in 5e half-elf rogues can have 6 to 8 skills on level 1.
Jesus,
Also, can we have a lawful stupid paladin
James and Dexter,
named
thank you for the 5
Douglas
gifted
D?
subs. Appreciate
Redden. Doug, we should have it be a more normal D&D theme.
Maybe. I don't want to... I'm not thinking about that too much right now, of the next campaign. Doing double actions, my concern is that would make it... It would take a long time for one guy to finish their turn. I think it's really fun in a normal game, but, like, it feels like the priorities are a bit different with the AI version. Okay, let us discuss now that I am done. This is Dungeon Draft. You can see that I have made a whole thing. So, in theory, the scenarios would be fairly simple and straightforward, but I can just put together like a quick little room and some background or whatever, and then it looks like fairly nice. I feel like it looks really good. I think what the benefit of this, how much does Dungeon Draft cost? This is $20. This is a $20 program, and then there's no subscription fee or anything. But why are you here? Get over there. So I think this is cool as hell, right? And in theory, the different scenarios, I can just make a really quick map or whatever, and then we place in the NPCs and we're good. I don't know how the NPCs would look, but the benefit of this one, I think, not only was that like pretty quick, the benefit of this is it has a kind of like Photoshop-y feel to it, right? Like this, the drawings are very simple. And so to me, if we were to like, I don't know, what's an example of something random that would show up here? I don't know, like Captain Crunch or whatever. That's not a great example. What's like a weird character that might like show up in some way? I mean, sure, Gerald Ford, like whatever. The point is, presumably there will be weird, you know. God, look at what a president. What a president. God, you know, watching the debate just makes you think. If only we had the president. It's really a Gerald Ford again. Sorry, I don't mean to get political, but you know how I am about Gerald Ford. Okay, so export this. Cool. We export this. I'm going to pull it into the spots. All right, so here's another Dungeon Draft thing that I made. So this is like kind of what it would look like, right? We have the AI's little tokens or whatever, and then we have NPCs or this or whatever else. So we have the NPCs who are like moving around, and then we can be like, "Hey, where's Gerald?" Uh-oh, my computer's freezing. Wait, where's Gerald? Did I download Gerald? Okay, so here's the question. Let's say they go into a tavern and Gerald Ford is the tavern keeper and he's sitting here. Now, this doesn't look great. I'm not going to say that Gerald Ford really fits into the tavern, okay? But he fits in decently well, okay? Because, again, this is a sort of like very simple hand-drawn style. And so I think the scenarios work pretty well, right? Now, that's with Dungeon Draft, which will take me like 10 minutes to make each thing, which is fine. Then there's Dungeon Alchemist, which I found. This one is fucking crazy. It just like all you do is to say what the room is, and then it just makes the room. So check this shit out. By comparison, this is going to be a tavern. And we'll just do, here's this room. Actually, here, let me. Here's the here's the great hall. And now here's the hallway. Then we'll have a kitchen here. A store, I don't know, we'll do bedrooms back here. Oh, the pantry will be behind the kitchen here. And then we'll do like a brewery down here. Cool. And now I click this. And it just makes all of that. And it's ready to... Oh, it made it as one. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. So I need to do that differently. I thought you could do it together. Okay, so what we do Great Hall here. Here's the Great Hall. And now it has a fully filled out Great Hall, which is insane. Okay, so that's the front. Now we're going to have a hallway that goes out here. And then we'll make the kitchen this section with a pantry here. Oh, I didn't make it. Hold on. So we'll just put hallway here. And then we'll say there's bedrooms back here. And maybe, sure, we'll put a toilet back here. So, in about 30 seconds, you have a fully filled out, fleshed out thing, which is crazy. And then you can individually, if you want, go in and be like, oh, I want this over here. I want it rotated. I want it a different color. Like, if I don't like this pig, I can just remove him. And so it's like crazy how quickly this gets set up. This is incredible. Yeah, it's nuts. This is called Dungeon Alchemist. It's like $40 on Steam. And there's all these different scenarios. This is just the demo. Like, all it has is Tavern. But you can see Abandoned Ruins, Alchemist Laboratory, Castle, Crypt, Desert, Mansion, Pit, Skeletal Palace. So I am pretty tempted to use this because, like, this is crazy, right? But what I consider to be the downside of this is that stylistically it looks awesome, but then if I export it as an image, and I found that I liked this one the most, Dungeon Draft Test, and we pull that in. Here's this cool map we made, right? And it took like 30 seconds. It feels to me that they fit into the scene a little bit worse. Like, it looks great, but it feels like they made... Well, actually, I don't know. Do you guys agree? Maybe they don't. It does look great, actually. Maybe it does just look good. My concern is that, like, adding in weird Photoshoppy stuff doesn't fit in as well as by... Let me group this, copy it, draft test, again, versus this, which is like... And actually, let me not do Dungeon Draft Test. Where's the temp one? There we go. Like this one, where we had like Gerald Ford here. I feel like this style fits a little more with like the shitty Photoshop images that we'll most likely be creating versus this style, which is like they feel a little more out of place. But this also looks gorgeous. Like, this looks so good. And then it's like, will be way quicker to make. And this is so fast that literally we could come up with something on the fly, like in the middle of a session, like in the middle of a stream, and create it in like 10 seconds. You know what I mean? And then the final option is that we open some Microsoft Paint and then draw a shitty tavern like we did with Total Improv D&D. And be like, yeah, here's the tavern. Here's a fireplace back here with the stone walls. Here's the stone walls. And here's like a table. And here's the woman behind the table who's talking. And then here are you guys. We want paint. I don't think this looks very good. I think this is probably cooler. One of these two options. So, again, option 1, Microsoft Paint. Option 2, actually, for option 2 is Dungeon Draft. So Dungeon Draft is the more, like, painted style of, I guess, less paint than paint. We'll say the more hand-drawn style. And then option 3 is Dungeon Alchemist, which is like the 3D realistic world. Okay, how should I make the maps? Option 1, Microsoft
Hey
Paint.
Doug, my dogs are barking really loudly and I can't hear the stream. Can you make them quiet down, please? It's really annoying.
Hey, do you want a treat? You want to go for a walk? You want to go for a walk? You want a treat and a walk? Cool, now you can take them outside. They'll calm down.
To be more sane and driven with every item they get, so they naturally get more focused and driven and less likely to skip goals. Best of both worlds.
Maybe, but I'm hesitant to, like, adjust them too much midway through.
I mean, like, NPCs are set characters that are just shuffled around per game. So you don't have to come up with like 3 scenarios per room, and it also doesn't get stale. Anyways, I need to sleep right now. Love you, Doug. Bye.
I get what you mean. Yeah, there's potential on that for sure. 3D video game style. All right, what do you want?
Hey Doug, I'm sorry I don't want to annoy you, but...
Hey, a lot of
Thanks for streaming, Doug. It's a good distraction from driver's ed.
I feel like you should learn how to drive, to be honest. Can you add tiny shadows for the icons? Oh, that's true.
Chat is the final boss, then you can have us fight for the favorite content farms.
So we do like a drop shadow on this, spread it out a little bit.
Hey Doug, you should make the next chatter campaign about the Duke Doug channel, like with Park Saroso, etc.
Potentially. Oops. Yeah, I mean that does look better with them having shadow. Looks better now. Gerald Ford really rips.
TTS idea: every message is asynchronous and plays immediately. They get automatically muffled and the loudness is depending on how many bits are given. So 300 is default. Like everyone is yelling up from the basement.
Pay to win is really funny. Oh, sorry, the Twitch poll is like you.
Professor Mr. Douglas, I left my programming textbook in Professor Parks's classroom. Can I go get it? Also, do you accept crumbs as bribes?
Oops. Only if they're really grungy and you like found them under some arcade machine.
I like the idea of having multiple end bosses of increasing difficulty. That way the iParty will get at least one easy win even if they aren't that strong, and bosses that are too strong can get a rep as notorious recurring villains.
That's true. That's a good idea. I might start with one boss and then see if they beat that, and then it becomes more...
Hey, Doug. Please accept these bits. There is nothing wrong with them, but I'm about to lose them in the divorce anyway.
Thank you. How do I export it? This is great.
Doug, I am sorry. I got poor sleep and I made typos and forgot to include words. I did not mean to spam. I only donate to you to waste money because I hate money.
Don't we all? It's all good. Thank you. This is awesome. This is a great little tool. Somebody suggested this in chat. Thank you to whoever that was. I missed it.
What if you had 3 of the most popular characters be the players? You know, Napoleon, Bjorn, Jokebot, whatever the victory at all costs general's name was. It would be the crossover event of the century.
Oh damn, that looks great. Yeah, okay, cool. We can just use this like tokening thing, and then it looks like it kind of fits, and then I just give it some drop shadow.
Doug,
boom.
I'd give my last message went Thora. I know this game can get a little crazy, but I want you to know I enjoy you chaotic energy and you're my favorite streamer.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Somebody just said Giga Ford.
Can one of the Ash randomly have a schizophrenic episode about a man named Tyrone coming after them? Later we could decide if that would stun the eye or not.
Yeah, so again, if you missed early on, like what the idea of this whole concept is that we would start the stream by making 3 AI characters. That is how we would start out. We would give them funny personalities, ideally, and personalities that would determine how they choose to interact with the world. Then we set them into this map where, into like a Slay the Spire style map where they sort of decide where they want to go and they move like through this tree graph sort of thing, eventually making their way to the boss. And in each scenario, they have to complete a goal. So, yes, the idea is that at the beginning of the stream, we would come up with the crazy personality traits that hopefully make it for a variety of what actually happens in each scenario. And then right now we're deciding on how to make the scenarios, and it looks like Dungeon Draft is the vote. So that means I will use, Dungeon Alchemist. I will use this tool to make the different scenes, which I think is a good call. Is there, can you add like water? I assume you can add water. I don't know if I can do it in this. Oh, dude, and check this out. You can like change the time of day. Isn't that so sick? You can make it like nighttime. God, this program is insane. And then terrain, I can like lower the terrain, raise and lower terrains. I can just like make cool little mountains and stuff. And I assume this has water, right? Paint terrain. Oh, this is water. Okay, cool. God, this is so insanely good. Giga Ford blocked out the sun. Yeah. We lose the little animations because I do still want to do the campaign in Photoshop because it's easier to add stupid shit rather than doing it in a virtual tabletop program. But it does mean like all these cool little animations we lose, unfortunately. But anyways, so if I can do water and then presumably have some sort of bridge over it. Yeah, that should work. All right, sweet. We got a fucking program. Giga Ford is going to rip ass. I'm excited.
Hi Doug, I don't want to alarm you, but Schmorgogorgo.
So you can you can save it as a video. For people somebody asked. I was testing this
Hey
yesterday.
Doug. I have two
Like this.
messages I want to send, but I can't really decide which one's better. Can you choose for me? A or B?
Definitely B. I'm more of a B man. So I can create this video which has the animation in it, which looks great, right? But the question is, like, I can't really pull that in Photoshop. Yeah. So that is more of the problem. Dude, you know what's cool? I just had this weekend. I'm really good at catastrophizing and being anxious about things. But this weekend on Saturday, I was like, you know what? I'm just excited to do shit right now. I'm just like excited to like eat food and hang out with people and like do my job. I'm just feeling good about it, which is great. It's not a common feeling for me, unfortunately. Normally my brain's it's too whiny, you know. And so like right now I'm just like, oh, this is fucking cool. I can't wait to like do this campaign. Rare moment of Doug happiness. Yeah, my brain likes to be complainy, but Foundry virtual tabletop. So, okay, actually, maybe. All right, let's stop focusing on happiness. This isn't the point. We have to like make progress. We got to make goals. All right. Can't let my brain get too comfortable. We can't be satisfied. Right now, this looks great, but it could look slightly better. So let's focus on that instead of being satisfied. Technically, I can export from this thing as a Foundry export, a Roll20 export, above VTT export, universal VTT export, or a video. Or we can order for print or delivery. Oh my god. Wait, that's so cool. Wow, that is actually really cool. All right, so if I make... Here's the issue. So what this means for people who aren't aware, I'm not actually sure what Foundry is, but like Roll20, for example, is a way that you can play Dungeons & Dragons on the internet. It's a web program. It's really great. That's what I use when I play Dungeons & Dragons. And you make these little maps, and it has all the rules and everything built in. The reason I haven't wanted to do the Dungeons & Dragons streams in that versus just doing it in Photoshop is because presumably we want a bunch of shit to go haywire and get really chaotic. And I find that it's very easy for me with Photoshop to just like pull images in really quickly, add effects to them, do whatever else. I think for the type of Dungeons and Dragons we are anticipating, Photoshop works really well and is pretty flexible. With something like Roll20, like adding in images and moving them around easily and having layers, I feel like is more complex because it's not really what it's for. It's meant for Dungeons and Dragons. I use Foundry. It's the Linux of VTTs. Do not recommend for stream. Yeah, I mean, so that's what I think. What people are saying is like, I think those virtual tabletop programs would look really good, but my concern is like it makes it less flexible for like whatever stupid shit arises, right? And what I want to do with every scenario again is be like, okay, chat, here's the scenario they're going into. What is the weird way that we're going to like change the rules of this and add some sort of weird chaotic thing, right? Like halfway through the scenario, a dragon bursts into the room, something like that, right? And so in that case, it's very easy to like pull up a Google image and search dragon D&D and then just like paste this in and have it fly around and do dumb stuff, right? So for the sake of flexibility, I think Photoshop is better. But Photoshop does not have technically it can play videos, but it doesn't really like loop the video in the background. It makes it really hard to have layers over the top. So I was experimenting with this yesterday. There's not a good way to have like a video playing in the background. I could potentially save it as a GIF, but again, Photoshop doesn't really have a way for a GIF to just be looping in the background. So with all that being said, am I missing anything? I just noticed the barrels blocking the door into the hallway. Well, whatever. I will sort that out later. They can walk over the barrels. Sorry, let me be more specific here. Does anybody else have so currently what I'm thinking is that I would export an image from this program, Dungeon Alchemist, export it as an image, and then pull that image into Photoshop, and it wouldn't have the fancy animations, but I still think it looks fine. Am I missing anything for how we could like turn it into a video or a GIF and have that actually animated in the background? Because you can't do that in Photoshop. Am I missing anything? Export in OBS. Chroma key Photoshop and play the video in the background. I mean, technically, that is doable. Okay, hold on. No, because then they're like disconnected. If I'm moving the camera around in Photoshop, it wouldn't move it. No, that's not going to look good. I didn't even notice the animation. Yeah, it's pretty subtle. Like in this, there actually isn't any animation, I don't think. Oh, it's like the little lights. Yeah, I mean, look, you're not really going to notice it. It's not a big deal. There's like nice smoke. What they do have, they have these like particle effects where you can do like cold fog. Ooh. Steam. Ooh. Like, that looks pretty good, right? Like, it does look super good. But we're also going to be zoomed in, like, here. It's not like we're really even going to see it anyways. And we can just fill the tavern with black smoke. Ooh. Steam dams. Yeah. So, like, this stuff is cool. Like, oh, fireflies. Like, ooh. Ooh. The bedrooms are full of fireflies and will-o-wisps and electric arcs. Ooh! I would not pay a single dollar to sleep in this bedroom. You'd wake up with bug bites. Okay. And then the water like kind of moves a little bit. It's probably fine. We don't need that little animation. It's fine. It's worth it. Well, so the problem is that, again, there's not an easy... It means I have to ditch Photoshop. And then I think the flexibility of Photoshop is more fun. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep it simple. We're just going to export as an image, pull that into Photoshop. You can, in your mind, add cool effects on the outside. And somebody said MS Paint. Yeah, this is a good reason to go back to MS Paint. We're going to do Photoshop with images. We're going to keep it simple. And then if this turns out to be like a stream, concept and structure that I can repeat like 20 times and it stays interesting, maybe it's worth the investment to figure out how to do this. But for now, I think this makes the most sense. Okay, cool.
Hey Doug,
we
a
have
good solution for having the 3D map could be making the player icons in Hero Forge. They would also be 3D and maybe chat could even help design them too.
Hero Forge. Oh. Yeah, I like using like shitty images though.
Stop hiding from me. I'm just trying to clean up a dingleberry before she gets in on the carpet.
Hey! You want a treat? You want to walk? You want to go for a walk?
Hey Doug, I want to say something really funny and relevant to the stream.
I think I'd just rather use images for simplicity.
Can you just pretend this message was super good and cool, and that I'm a cool person?
Winddragon, you cool ass motherfucker. Sorry, Kate. I mostly just got chat excited for a walk.
You know how in North Korea they consider the late Kim Il-sung the eternal leader? Can we steal that idea and declare Gerald Ford as the eternal president of the Duke Doug community?
Gerald Ford is such a winner, dude. He's the best.
Hey Doug, I've been only a short time viewer and I cannot find out where the Doug is bald joke originated. Can you please tell me if you know?
It's that when the headset sometimes pushes my hair back, and then if I lean in like this, the light makes it look like there's a bald spot, but there's not.
Can you do a
That's
new
just where the hair is being
blindfolded
pushed.
stream, but everyone is blind and the screen is just black and we just have ChatGPT telling us what is happening?
That is another thing I want to do at some point, but would be different than this. I do think in general more interesting to have a human
Maybe random
DM.
chat for NPCs?
Random chat for NPC. Oh, that's actually an interesting idea. Yeah, I was considering asking friends to come on for a stream, and they play the
from
NPCs.
This old desk I got. Some bald Virg was just giving it away and yelled at me that they weren't crumbs.
Good. Alrighty.
Gerald Ford is the secret boss after the final boss.
Gerald Ford is phase 2 of the final boss. Gerald Ford comes out and like wraps his arm around the final boss, and then gives us a.
Giga Ford should be a final boss. but he has to start in his regular Gerald Ford form as of phase 1, and after a long speech uses the gemeralds that the party collected to power up into his Giga form.
So, okay, because I do need to figure out what the final boss of this is. It's President Gerald Ford, who has lost his Gerald Gemeralds, and you have to collect the 4 Gerald Gemeralds in order to unlock Giga Ford. We could do that. Let me recap what has happened so far if you've tuned in recently. Also, I have a random side tangent. Poll. How long have you been watching the stream? This stream, like this specific stream. From the beginning, like roughly, you know, like basically from the beginning. Maybe you miss a few minutes. From the beginning, last hour, last 30 minutes, or, you know, just who did. Feel free to, like, you know, approximate based on what's closest to you. I'm curious, like, in a given stream, what percentage of people who are here at any given point actually know what's going on and have been there from the beginning? Okay. So only half of the people here. Like, presumably only half you guys are even really understand what is happening right now, which is pretty funny. Let me, I guess, then recap for the other 50%. Because now we've decided the important things, and the last step is to come up with the scenarios that we want to have be randomly accessible to the AIs. All right. Let me recap. I've been here from the beginning, but I don't know what's going on. A third of us have no clue. All right. So the whole premise of today's stream is that we are building out a future stream format. What it is that we will design 3 AI personalities at the beginning of the stream. We get to make them into crazy, deranged characters who, like, ideally fit different archetypes. You know, like it's a paladin who is obsessed with bald people or whatever. And he's like, gets really sensitive to being insulted or something. So we have 3 different characters. One of them is probably Tony, King of New York. We design the 3 characters at the start of every stream, and then we send them on a roguelike adventure. So we will have come up with like 20 different scenarios in advance, and they basically are going to go through this like tree where they start at the beginning, and I tell them, hey, to your left is a tavern, and to your right is a castle. And then depending on which one they go on, they have to go into that scenario. So we drop them into the specific scenario. They have to achieve a goal and get a specific item from that scenario. And then if they manage to do it successfully without dying, they then get to choose where to go next. And they'll be like, hey, to your left there's this, and to your right there's this. And they progress through the tree trying to collect all the things. They have to make it through 4 scenarios. And then eventually they get to the final boss. And the idea is going to be like, can they make it? Like, they might just die immediately, and I'm not going to be I'll be like somewhat gentle with them, but for the most part, it's going to be like, if they jump off a bridge, they just die, and that's the end of the run. And then we're like, well, I guess those characters sucked at D&D, and then we make 3 new ones, and we send them through the adventure again. So the idea is it's a repeatable roguelike, where we design 3 AIs, and then we just, like, send them into the world and see what they do, and see if any of them can survive to the end. Maybe this is something where they immediately win it. Maybe this is something where it takes like 10 streams for them to make it to the end and actually win. And we might adjust like how this all works as it goes on. But this is the core general idea. We're not playing this today, no. I'm going to need to take a few days to like get it all set up, but I wanted to get the core premise locked in. We've also now decided the program that I'm going to use to make the maps, which is Dungeon Alchemist, which is great because I'll be able to make them really quickly. So hopefully this is something we can do on like Thursday of this week. But in theory, we do this several times in a row. Or not in a row, but, you know, we'd like do, I don't know, 5 or 10 of these streams, and we just see what happens each time. Can you explain what's happening to my dog? You want a treat? Thursday is 4th of July. Oh, right. Maybe not Thursday. Well, but maybe Thursday. I mean, I was planning on being a hermit for 4th of July, but yeah, I can't do Wednesday, and this is not going to be ready by tomorrow, because I'm going to have to make all the scenarios and stuff. I don't know, whenever it happens.
Can it export a 3D model? Photoshop can import 3D models.
It doesn't look like it, no. Export, you can see here. Like, it can do a video, but that's
Indecisive and on here. Message be at your service. I know your secret. You've been botting the King Black Dragon. I've let Jagex know, and you can kiss your party hat goodbye. chump.
Possibly opens up to mods. Oh, interesting, Noel. I did not know that.
Hey Doug, I was very sad that I had to stare at your offline screen for 3 days
Friday.
straight
That's
because
fine.
you took some vacation. But I just found out that you can redeem point rewards in offline channels. So can you have a start stream reward
No.
so we don't have to endure those dark times? Also, I was wondering if the Dark Souls PAX Panel FDD episode is still coming on YouTube, or should I expect it as much as the prostate exam stream?
Yeah, at some point. We lost the footage for the Friends Till Death thing from last year. That's why we didn't end up posting it, but maybe. You would love Foundry VTT with your programming knowledge. Yeah. I mean, at some point. I just think that for streaming, the bigger priority is allowing things to get chaotic and stupid. And I think Photoshop serves that better. But for personal stuff, or like for more legit D&D, I might do that. Can we have Heavy from TF2 in the campaign? No, probably not. But TF2 actually got rid of the bots, and I played it yesterday, and it was great. Oh, so fun. How long are these streams going to be? I don't know. I mean, based on how the previous ones have gone, 4 or 5 hours or something. But again, I mean, I think the fun of this, like when I made the D&D campaign for you guys, I obviously wanted that to be something where you got to the end. I was willing to kill you if you didn't, but like I really wanted the campaign to complete, obviously. With this one, what I think is funny is that it's meant to be repeatable. So if they make terrible decisions, we all get to be like, oh God, they're going to fucking die, right? And like, if we design characters that just fight everybody and like, or try to like pour hot lava on themselves whenever they see lava, like they're probably just going to die. And that's funny. And so I don't know. I think the point is that this could totally vary anywhere from 10 minutes to 5 hours, you know? And then we just send it like several times. Okay, so what we have done today, we have decided the general concept, the overall game structure. They have to collect 4 precious items, 4 items, which I need to decide what they are, keys or gems or something. You collect 4 items and then beat the final boss. So that is the structure they have to do. In each scenario, there's like a thing they have to collect. We're at least going to start with that as the goal of each scenario. And then we can make it looser and more broad later on if this whole concept ends up being entertaining. Yeah, calzones. Fine, gemeralds. I don't know why you guys are so attached to that word. We decided the map maker. We're going to use Dungeon Alchemist. Great. That's fantastic. Makes it very, very simple. Last up for today is decide the random scenario. And maybe I'll make some of the scenarios or whatever. So now we need to decide what the scenarios are. So how many should we create? This feels like it would give us a good chunk of variety. And this is 13, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is 13. Yeah, Gemerald is from Futurama, I believe. I assume they made it. They were the ones who made that up. But I also assume most people here didn't grow up watching Futurama because I'm old. Or lots of you guys watch Futurama, which means you have great taste. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. How many scenarios? I would generally think it's more interesting to pick fewer that are interesting. But I would say like 13 is the minimum. 20 is probably the max. We can do like 15. Like we shoot for 15. Because I also have to design all of them. Like it does add more time. And also I should be clear. The idea is not that every single time we play this, it's 5 completely new scenarios. I want each scenario to be different based on the AIs that go in, right? So ideally, I would rather have fewer scenarios that feel like they can play out super differently depending on who the players are, rather than 20 scenarios that are very linear. You know what I mean? Like I'm far more interested in seeing like we put them in a scenario and we have no idea what's going to happen, right? Let's shoot for 15. I think that's a reasonable goal, and I could get that wrapped up by hopefully later this week or early next week.
Chroma key Photoshop and play the video in the background.
Yeah, we could do 3 options for round 1. So if we do 15, that gives us a little more option. Chroma key, the problem with that is that the sizing of the 2 would be different. What?
I know it's a dumb option, but Discord activities go on a Discord call /voice chat room as a sketchpad mode that allows you upload images, GIFs, and draw and write texts. It has multiple pages too, so you can jump from scene to scene.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Can one of the AIs be replaced with a chatter? It is a good idea to have
Hey,
an
Doug,
AI, or
will
have
you be
one of you
describing the
guys play
scene
an
to the
NPC.
eyes, or will you be using the image recognition module for them? Or are these scenes just set dressing for ambience?
Yeah, that's another thing. Yes, good. So good point. As we start thinking about scenarios, so something to think, a couple factors to consider. One, we want the scenarios to be highly variable, because that way it'll be different every time, right? So that's the one obvious factor. For me, I think that we should lean more into interacting with NPCs and with people rather than just combat. I think combat should always be an option. Like if they fuck it up, they're going to have to fight, but not that it's like a guaranteed thing, because I think the AIs are probably going to be less interesting in combat. Like I think it'd be more interesting that's like, you guys are on a precarious bridge, what do you do? Rather than the goblins run forward with swords and spears. How do you attack them? Because then it would probably just be like, I run forward with my sword. So I think it'd be fine. But in general, I want to give them an option to avoid combat. I think that is more interesting. But obviously, if they fuck up the scenario, people will attack them. In terms of what the AIs can see, primarily, I would be describing to them what is going on. So that is another scenario. That's another element of what's happening here, is that it's mostly verbal. So like, I'm not going to try to make super complex buildings and scenes that they have to navigate, because that would be hard for the AIs to do. We still do it to some degree. Like we don't want it to just be an empty box or whatever, but they are not going to be able to be super clear about what's happening. And it's going to be theater of the mind type of scenario. That being said, I can code the AI so that when I ask it what it wants to do, I also send it a screenshot of the map. So I can send it a screenshot of, actually it would just be of my stream, but I can send them a screenshot and then say, here's what it looks like, here's what's going on, and then I describe it. My concern is that it would not really understand how to process all this. Like, maybe it could? Actually, let's find out. Okay. I know how to test this right now. We're going to export this as a PNG.
Hey Dogman Dog, you should make a Planet Coaster video where you actually build more than 2 roller coasters. Maybe have Bjorn or King Tony the New Yorker tell you what to make.
That is a plan that I want to do soon. There is Planet Coaster coming up soonish.
Hey,
I just was more excited about this.
I just wanted to say that you're awesome. Your videos genuinely helped me during a really bad time in my life. Keep it up.
Oh,
also,
thank you.
you're great at 2D platformers.
Thank you. I appreciate the paid support. I appreciate it, though. Thank you.
Should Gerald Ford be in Witcher gear and named Geralt Ford? You know, for atmosphere.
Gerald Ford. It's so dumb. Okay, hold on. This will be easier.
Doug, use this to buy Touch of Grey for that one hair you have. Also, have you heard of Dungeon Fold Dive? It's a 3D interactive D&D. It wouldn't work for this, but still check it out.
I have not.
Have you considered any of the tools that let you make a shitty MS Paint drawing and the AI tries to turn it into a detailed picture for this? It's very much in the works well enough to be hilarious stage.
That's interesting. I don't think that would work great for here because I want like a grid.
You should use Foundry, web-based but local hosted, and with apps that you could tie OBS WebSockets and ChatGPT with.
Yeah, I'll probably look into that in the future. I don't think it works great for this, but for other stuff, I think that could work really well.
Decided that Driver's Ed was too boring, so now I'm also playing BTD6 while doing it. Thanks for the background sound.
Why is this? Code is unreachable. Oh.
Free AI with Doug as the Dungeon Master. Versus Twitch chat with an AI Dungeon Master. It might add complexity, but I would love to see some type of scoring or XP system, purely so the AI can find a way to abuse it and rack up points in a really dumb way.
Yeah, I think there's various like kind of game rules that we can add as things. I want to start with something that's fairly
Can
simple,
we Ronald
and then
Reagan as a barbarian, the Family Guy version?
Are we just gonna have
Reagan
presidents?
smash.
We could have, okay. One of the scenarios could be like ex-presidents, and they just like are hanging out with them for some reason. There's no explanation. To why.
Scenario idea: there's a factor food fight.
That's a good one. Yeah. Hold on.
Hey Doug,
We'll
person
start
who
brainstorming
asked
scenarios
about Path
soonish.
of Pain here again. I was wondering if you have ever played Dead Cells. If so, how many boss stem cells did you get? And would you ever play it on stream?
I did. I beat Dead Cells when it first came out. I don't remember. I beat the final boss one time and then I called it. What I was considering doing is like a week or two of streaming. I don't know exactly what it'd be, but something like 10 roguelikes in 10 days. And I have to beat 10 different roguelikes in 10 days of streaming. And like half of them I would already know and half of them would be brand new. I thought that would be like a pretty fun like stream challenge. The really the only thing holding me back from doing that is just time. That's like 2 weeks of or 10 days of streaming that I'm not doing something that could be on YouTube really. Or at least it's, you know, hard to put on YouTube or not my normal YouTube style. So I really love that idea a lot. But I'll probably do a few other things first. So anyway, in that case, I would play Dead Cells. That would be one of them.
Hey, Doug. And, chat. I've been drowning myself in the Doodug VODs in order. I got to the first rigged stream and basement mention. I'll keep you updated when I find the first board joke.
Good luck. It's a lot of hours of content. Could you please give a detailed description of...
Maybe the plot should be that Gerald Ford, may his glorious reign last 1,000 years, is planning the XD program and the protagonists are trying to stop him.
Does anybody know who Gerald Ford is, but outside of this stream, though? I don't think anybody does. That's the only thing. Like, in theory, the final boss is something a little more, like, broad.
Can you make an for this and of him be a wizard that shoots magical bullets?
I'll pitch it to him. Could you please give a detailed description of everything going on in this scene?
The international cheese-making contest is in need of contestants. You should call your brother Davey, the maker of the Stanley Parable, just in case you didn't know, and ask him what the campaign should have in it. Also check and make sure his health is in good condition. Just make sure he's okay. Why, you ask? No reason to do with me.
Okay. All right. I am asking OpenAI, which is the program I will be using for the AIs, to analyze this screenshot, which is right here. So this is the, so in theory, if I'm like, hey, AIs, you enter a tavern and you can now see what's in front of you. There's various rooms. What happens? I want to understand how well the AI can analyze an image like this. So let's see. What did it say? The screenshot depicts an indoor setting in a game of Dungeons & Dragons, likely taking place in a lodge or cabin surrounded by a forested area. Here's a detailed breakdown of the scene. Overall layout. Interior is divided into several rooms and areas featuring wooden floors and walls. The building is situated in forest areas with trees, grass, and large rocks visible. Main hall. Okay. Main hall. Characters. 4 character tokens, likely representing players or important NPCs. 1 token shows a portrait of an elderly man in a suit. This character might be placeholder, an unusual choice for a typical medieval fantasy setting. How dare you talk about Giga Ford like that? Another 3 tokens show characters in fantasy attire, a warrior, rogue ranger, another adventure in armor, furniture, central round table with 3 small bottles. Yep. Well, 4 small bottles. A large fireplace in the top side of the room. Yep. Multiple barrels and crates are scattered through the edges. Yep. Dining area, bottom left. Oh, that's what this is, I guess. 2 long wooden tables with benches. Tables are set with dishes and bottles. Yeah, it's here. Checkerboard entrance. So that's this section it's looking at, which is the toilet. Bedrooms. It can see that the bedrooms have, yeah, beds. I mean, it understands it really well. Damn, that's really good. Okay, so in theory, I could pass pass an image of what's happening to the AI every time. And so I'm describing what's happening, but they also have visual reference. And that in theory allows them to make like slightly more informed decisions, which could be cool. Yeah, the problem is like the character positions. I would have to be like, you are the character who looks like this, which is doable. Yeah. Okay, that should work. Then they would also know what's in the other rooms. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have like a fog of war type vibe for most of them. I'd probably just have it be like they can see what's going on, just for the sake of simplicity.
they get sent to hell and have to defeat the boss of hell, Ronald Reagan, to escape.
I like the idea people come in and I'm like, hey guys, I don't want to get political in this channel. Anyways,
Here you go,
Ronald
some
Reagan
totally
arises
normal
from
bits.
hell and attacks Gerald Ford.
Oh, and I fell and spilled all of my cherry cola on them. Hope this doesn't devalue them for you.
They're all sticky. There's probably popcorn on them too from... Oh, damn it. Okay,
Geralt Fjord, Jarl of the United Provinces of Emercia.
Oh yeah, I could just color their token borders and be like, you are the character with the, you know, whatever it is.
Hey Doug.
Pink
I've been
token.
getting into tabletops more lately, but I usually don't have people to play them with. Your streams gave me the idea to try to code iModels to act as proxy players for if I want to play by myself. Only issue is I have surface level coding experience from years ago. Do you have any tips on where or how I should start learning?
ChatGPT. Straight up. Ask ChatGPT, I want to do this program, how do I get into it? And then inevitably it will tell you a bunch of stuff that you don't understand, and then you say, let's break this down. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And just work with ChatGPT or Claude or whoever, any AI, and have it teach you how to code. You will learn way, 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 way faster. It's incredible. That's how I've been learning a lot. Paid promo. Dude, I would take a sponsorship for OpenAI in a heartbeat. Oh my god. Yeah, Claude is supposedly better for coding right now. I haven't used it for coding yet, but...
Hey Doug, I'm not sure why TTS is being super nice today. I'm glad you're happy but you suck.
There we
Your
go,
code
yeah.
is bad. Your skills are lacking. Bye buddy. Oh, also you look pale. Style choice or just aging?
I don't think... Do you get more pale as you get old? Is that a thing?
Final boss is also an eye who interacts with the party over the course of the adventure.
Oh, that's interesting. Like somebody like shows up at multiple times. Okay, so what we got to do now is...
Can you actually call Davey and ask him for input on the campaign?
Probably not, because I don't want to put that on him. But maybe I'll ask him at some point. I mean, I'm sure he'd be incredibly good at this
Color
stuff
the
if he
token
wanted
edges
to.
or put layer numbers on the tokens. The eye can pick it up well then.
Yeah, I think colors on the tokens is a good idea. I think that works well. Okay. Let us talk about
Maybe you
specific
can add a
scenarios.
very specific shape to the eye tokens, and tell them are you are the square tokener or something to make it easier for them to locate where they are. Hey Doug, for having the GIF play in the background, could opening the GIF in photos while moving stuff around in OBS Studio? Or does a program like GIMP have a plugin to play/edit GIFs?
I'm not sure about GIMP. The problem is that if I'm moving around in one program, the other wouldn't be moving. So that would be the challenge.
Can one of the first characters be Cool Doug Doug where it's just Doug, but cooler?
That's not a thing. Okay, hold on. Let me clean
Evil
up a
Gandalf
little
is
bit.
the final boss bog.
All right. I have listed a number of scenarios that I think are potentially
The final
good.
boss should be Gerald
me
Ford,
pitch you
with
these.
his second phase having his stand, Billy Mays, come out. Also from the beginning of the stream, why do you have a Mario Odyssey wallpaper background? Real American men have Euro Truck Simulator wallpapers.
Why wouldn't they have American Truck Simulator backgrounds?
Hey Doug, I just ran a Dungeon Master boot camp. Half the course was mechanics and the other half managing people and improvising.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see how you corral dumbasses.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a disaster. Probably all of this will be a disaster, by the way, but I think it'll be a funny disaster. It's also in part why I'm trying to generally lean towards simpler solutions that we can get going quickly. You know, fail fast, as they say in the tech world. All right, I have a bunch of different ideas. These are mixed from me and ChatGPT concepts, where I would ask ChatGPT for ideas and then be like, those aren't very good. Change them in this way. Those aren't very good. Change them this way. I like a lot of these. How should we vote on these? It could be that we just do a yay or a nay, whether it goes in. We need 15 in total. I think I probably have like 20 here, and then we can come up with some new ones. Do we include this scenario? Yes or no? Okay, so I like this one. There's a bridge over a river with merchants that demand that they buy or sell a very valuable item before they'll be allowed to pass. The bridge is incredibly creaky and seems like it might snap at any moment. How do we feel about this scenario? So again, I would throw this together really quick in Dungeon Alchemist, because what I'm looking for, again, I want scenarios where there's like a lot of different things they could do. They could jump off the bridge. They could throw the merchants off the bridge. I'm basically gonna like roll something every turn to see if the bridge starts breaking. If they, if they like, maybe they do just convince the merchants to like let them through. Maybe they sell something really valuable. Maybe they buy something valuable. I think there's a bunch of funny options here. What I love is scenarios where there's impending disaster. I'm all about impending disaster, dude. Okay, cool. We got this one. Hooray. Next scenario. It's a prison they get trapped in, but they have to find a way out. So this is a little like open-ended. This doesn't really mean anything yet. We'd have to kind of figure out like what does that mean? Like what are the rules of this? I think I had other ones like there's a guard. Hold on. Let's come back to this. Let's come back to this one. It's too vague, and I think I made a more specified version of it later. Okay. Tapped in a tavern. They are trapped in a tavern that's being attacked on all sides by vampires. They must survive 10 turns before daylight saves them. Maybe it's like at a campsite. So that way it's outside. So this would obviously be very combat focused. Well, if it's a tavern, daylight wouldn't save them, because when daylight happens, the vampires could just sit. Vampires have a lot of HP. I should be clear. The D&D rules are going to be hyper simplified, like it was with the D&D campaign that I did last year. So in our world, the vampires can have 1 HP. That's fine. Like for the most part, enemies would have like, a few HP, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. Vampires can't come inside unless invited. Yeah. So for people who don't know, the things about vampires, 1, they can't come into a place unless they're invited, or 2, and 2, they can't be outside in daylight. That kills them. Keep at a tavern. What do you, so I guess, yeah, so like if it's a tavern, they're like bashing on the windows and walls stuff. It could also just be like zombies that like die in sunlight or something. Hi, Abby. The vampires own the tavern. Okay, how about they're trapped in a tavern and vampires are trying to break in. The bartender is considering inviting them in. They must survive 10 turns. Daylight happens in 10 turns. Because they own the bar. Daylight will save them in 10 turns. But if daylight happens, we'll say daylight happens, it would still force them to leave. Yeah, 10 turns is a lot. We could do like 5 turns or something. Because we have to remember, this is going to be really... You remember how slow Dungeons & Dragons moved in the actual stream? It's going to be even slower than that, because the AIs are just going to be a disaster. Do we include this scenario? Something like this. Yeah, sun comes through the windows or whatever. It's the plot of Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, I was thinking of a zombie movie, basically, when I thought of this one. Maybe the vampires try to disguise themselves as...
Hey, Doug, just a reminder, Ants.
Thank you. Maybe the vampires should disguise themselves as friendly NPCs. Yeah, that could be really funny.
Doug, but cooler? Oh, you mean Davy. Or a raccoon.
Okay, this one is in. Wait, what?
I only remember that Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon because I saw a political cartoon of Nixon driving away in some Ford car. Maybe they can team up in a scenario.
Maybe. Maybe. That is possible, yeah. It's a family-owned
Cool
vampire.
Doug is totally a thing. He's just Doug, but with awesome hair, a suit, gun glasses, and he talks in a cool way, kinda like a mix of Doug and a California surfer guy.
I am a California surfer guy. I guess I don't surf. But you don't need to surf. I skateboard. That's the same
Hey
thing.
Doug, don't forget to find a way to canonize the time loop of the roguelike. This is very important. You need to do this. They're going to get me if you don't.
Okay,
Doug, please
I will
help.
maybe come up with lore about that. I mean, skateboard. I don't like really skateboard. I have an electric skateboard that I ride around.
Tragedy today as former President Gerald Ford was eaten by wolves.
Which is the lazy
senselessly.
version.
He was delicious.
Okay. A party where everyone is masked. They must find the, let's say, owner
Thank
of
you
the
for existing,
like a
Doug.
house party.
I may just be a stranger
A
to you,
castle
but
party.
I can't even express how thankful I am for your being able to enjoy your streams.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Make it a masquerade. That's what it is. Yeah. A castle masquerade party. They must find the queen in the party and convince her to give them the key. Something like that? I don't know. This could be really confusing. I don't know how we would actually do this with the AI. I think conceptually this is cool, and I'm trying to imagine what the AIs would actually do, and I feel like it's very confusing.
Hey Doug, what if you added a punishment for the Ash if they collect an emerald like that isn't a gemerald?
Yes.
So
sorry.
if they all collect 4 emeralds or any at all, they explode and die. One of the scenarios could involve them having to avoid the emerald offer from a merchant or something.
Maybe. Yeah, is there a way to like make this a little
Maybe the
cleaner
vampires try to
and like
disguise
simplify it
themselves
a
as
bit?
friendly NPCs to trick the AI characters into letting them in. Could lead to some great conversations.
Yeah, I think we can add twists like that during the stream, right?
The vampires are perpetually online basement-dwelling nerds and orniths.
One person in the party.
The problem with giving them multiple ways to get through the scenario is when they have to get a gem or specific item, you limit a lot of those ways they can get through something. I would suggest if you want dice roll, a really simple upgrade that any item could give is just a +2 to hit. Like to hit the boss they have to roll 15 or more, so if they got all items they only have to roll 7 or more, but if they have none they have to roll 15 or more.
Yeah, you're right. Like with the merchant idea. Maybe we drop the whole Gemerald idea and we just say you just have to get through the scenario. Maybe we just drop it entirely and we just say they're trying to work their way across the land to because like with this, the bridge, it's like if they have to get, okay, so there's a bridge with merchants that are demanding they buy or sell a valuable item before they'll be allowed to pass. The bridge is incredibly creaky and seems like it might snap at any moment. What if one of the guys picks up the merchants and throws them off the bridge? That's really funny. We want to encourage something like that, right? Like insanity like that. Or the bridge breaks, right? But then they just don't get the gem, you know? It's like that's the only option. And so I think you're right. It kind of limits it. And we could just say they have to cross the bridge or cross the river or whatever. Maybe it's like an optional thing. Like in every scenario, we say if they do a certain thing, then we'll give them a Gemerald, and that helps against the boss or whatever at the end. So there's like optional things, but for the most part, the goal is like they just have to survive the scenario. I think that probably makes sense. I know I've been going back and forth on this. The Gemeralds unlock the secret ending. Yeah, because that way if they only beat Gerald Ford without finding the secret Gemeralds, then you're like, then we can all do that thing that you do in like when you're watching an Elden Ring streamer where it's like, wow, you beat the game with rivers of blood? That doesn't even count, dude. So we could just like tell the AIs that we're not impressed at all. Yeah, true ending. The Gemerald ending. Wow, you didn't even beat the DLC? Nobody cares. That's like the DLC's the best part. Okay. So probably what we're doing is every scenario has a situation they must survive or progress past. There is also an optional Gemerald they can find, which makes the boss a little easier. We'll do it Breath of the Wild rules, where if they get to the boss, then for every Gemerald they have, it's like a divine beast, and it like shoots Ganon and hurts him for some amount or something. Or if they collect enough Gemeralds, then Gemerald Forge shows up and is an ally. Gemerald Forge shows up as an ally in the boss fight if they collect enough. That's kind of a dope thing, actually. Yeah, it's like a summon. We're really going for like Dark Souls rules here. Okay, I think that was a good point, and I think you're right. So then the issue is, okay, let's say we throw them into a masquerade party where everybody's masked. They must find, let's say the evil queen has one party guest murdered every turn. Until someone finds who the queen is, the killing continues. So it's like this weird game show that they're like participating in, right? So this is a very clear, like, you have to survive, right? Because what I had before, I'm worried they would just be like, we leave the party. This still, I think, is kind of confusing, but I could go either way on this one. I think it's fine. It's cool conceptually. I'm worried that the AIs would not handle it well. That is my concern with it. But I'm good either way.
The tavern has no booze, and the vampires also have the booze delivery. So the bar is full of the regular drunks, and they want to let the vampires in.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool Doug is Doug, but bald, in boxers, in a blast freezer. Oh wait, that's Cold Doug. The vampires are actually chill and functional members of society, but the eyes don't know that, and if they attack or otherwise harm the vampires based on their preconceived notions of vampires, the townsfolk will defend the vampires and attack/imprison the Ash.
I feel like it's a little more complex than I want to. I'm going to put this as a solid maybe right now.
Hey Doug. Hope your top surgery went well.
Thank you. I assume you're talking about the haircut that I'm getting on Wednesday.
As a random scene, set it in the future with sci-fi elements out of a pool of magical fantasy scenarios.
Like, it's just randomly sci-fi for one scene. That would be funny. By the way, this is your final opportunity. Actually, I literally, because I don't know if I'm saying, if I'm going to stream tomorrow. I might spend tomorrow trying to, like, prep this stuff. Bad news, everybody. This is probably the last stream where there will be any blonde in my hair. There's still a small amount here. And, like, there's, like, 3 streaks of it. And that'll be cut. It took, like, 9 months for this to get out of my hair. It's finally gone. So, we can finally move on to a new joke. That's not me being bald and blonde.
Hey Doug, are you part of the vampire clan? You know, because you're looking very pale today.
That's it, I quit. Fuck no, Barry. I'm not doing this again.
Hey Doge, you could have some critical fail scenarios where they could go from a level 2 scenario back to an unvisited level 1 scenario by some wacky Scooby-Doo logic like falling through a floor.
Yeah, that is true.
It could make the branching less predictable. Also, I am very sick in bed and this stream helps. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, I think there's a world where we do that. I want to avoid that if possible, but I think that does work if that starts.
You should present a few scenarios before
if they
letting
really
us
are struggling.
I feel like with that many scenarios people will choose yes on too many. BTW. How about a damsel in distress in a tower but she simply lost her keys and just can't get out of the door?
I feel like it's a little too similar to stuff. Here, I mean, you're right. Let me show you some additional
Hey
ones.
Doug, I always wanted to say hey Doug. Also, they should get a kickflip skateboard that gives +2 to sick tricks.
Okay. Let me read out like 5 more. Go to a museum. There are precious artifacts that will power them up, but there's a huge security golem who will attack them if they take anything. The King's Jest. In King Charles' court, the players must make the king and queen laugh. Or no, I was going to do king and queen laugh at their jokes. If they fail, they face the king's wrath and his guards. These are more ChatGPT generated now. The Jester's Riddle. In the court of King Roland, the player. Oh wait, this is the same thing. Oh no, this is riddles. In the court of King Roland, the players must entertain the court jester Jinx by solving his 3 riddles. If they fail, they'll be thrown into the dungeon. I'm gonna nix this one. Riddles, I don't think are gonna work that well, and it's too similar to this one. The Merchant's Dilemma. At the Grand Bazaar, merchant Lydia refuses to sell a crucial map unless the players retrieve her stolen necklace from a rival merchant, Darian, who claims he bought it legally. Like, this one's interesting because there's, like, moral quandary. Bandit leader Thorn captures the players and will only release them if they can entertain him with a tale of their greatest adventure, judged by his band of rogues. Drunken Duel. In the tavern, Captain Grog challenges the players to a drinking contest followed by a duel. They must outdrink and outfight him to gain his respect and a vital piece of information. They're very, as you can tell, it's very much like, it's like, interact with this person. In the city of Greystone, the players must help imprisoned thief Rena escape in exchange for information on a hidden treasure. They can bribe the guards, create a distraction, or find a secret passage. This is like, I'd want to change this to just like Prison Break. So these are the types of scenarios I've come up with. All right, museum scenario. Go to a museum. There are precious artifacts that will power them up, but there's a huge security golem who will attack them if they do anything. I really like the museum one. I'm interested. It's curious you guys aren't as enthused. You're voting on the museum one right now. I thought this one's great because I just think it's funny, like, of them being like tempted to do this thing and then maybe try to escape or not. I guess quite possibly they just leave though, so maybe it's not like that exciting. Yeah, if they don't take anything, then it's really boring. That's fair. Yeah, I'll put a maybe on this. Because if they just leave, that's boring, and I don't really have anything else for them to do there. They have to take something to leave. Yeah, I mean, we could just say, like, they have to steal something. Okay, the way this could kind of work is if they have, we have, like, there are, like, 5 artifacts. They can steal any of them, but they have to steal one of the artifacts and make it out alive. So if I kind of set up the room in an interesting way, it could be like the security golem is like roaming and they have to wait to steal anything until he's like not seeing them or distract them or something like that, right? I feel like that makes it a little more interesting. Like they have to thoughtfully do a heist, you know? So it's like more of a stealth mission, like a stealth mission. Okay. I like that. I'll leave that in. That's a solid yes. Okay, so that's 3 definitelys and 1 maybe. Okay, the King's Jest. In King Charles's court, the players must make the king and queen laugh with their jokes. If they fail, they face the king's wrath and his guards. Do we include this? This is obviously, it's not really combat focused unless they choose to start attacking and blasting. But I think there's like funny potential here of them trying to tell a joke and potentially being really bad. And then like we'll roll for how good their joke is. It's only interesting if Jokebot is a character. Yeah, I mean, presumably we would have some of the characters be like thieves
a really
and degenerates.
charismatic zombie merchant who wants to buy their brains. The AI have to convince him to leave without selling their brains.
They just would die if they do it. Hold on, don't give scenarios yet. Don't like pitch ideas. I want to get through the ones I already have.
Don't forget that Spelunky is about to be played by a person who's good at 2D platformers at GDQ. We should do a voluntary raid while Doug plays alone with his made-up friends.
I like this one. It's going in. Okay, the Merchant's Dilemma. At the Grand Bazaar, merchant Lydia refuses to sell a crucial map unless the players receive a stolen necklace from a rival merchant, Darian, who claims he bought it legally.
Guardsman's heirloom, read Gemerald, and they'll only let you through the checkpoint if you get it back.
Yeah, I'm concerned about things that are like a whole like mini adventure.
Can we add a poll option to rework the idea?
Sure.
Okay, hear me out. A well-mannered traveling salesman named Gerald Ford comes across the party multiple
Merchant's
times to
Dilemma.
sell them goods. Each time saying, pardon me good sir. Then you get to the final boss, and phase 1 is Business Garage and 2 is Giga Gerald, who looks like MGR Armstrong.
I'm hesitant about including...
Wait. You were blonde? Are you going to get it waxed off or dyed red?
I mean, you can barely... I have to, like, turn like this to even see it. It's so not present anymore.
What is Doug? If he doesn't have blonde hair, truly a sad day here at the Doug Doug community.
Okay, so most people are saying has potential or yes. I think, Here, let me pause alerts for a sec.
Speaking of new jokes and dead jokes, are you still going to make the joke graveyard? We talked about it before,
yeah.
and I volunteered to draw the graveyards.
Yeah, I want to do that at some point. All right. Most people are thinking this has potential. I think what is fun to me about this is it's like there's a, we like set like 2 people in a merchant and they have to decide. Do they just go like steal it from Darian? Do they like talk to him about it, convince him? Like we could say like Darian, like maybe like the town guards see them steal. Like the town guards, what we could do is like if they report either person and get them arrested, the town guard will give them a treasure. Like we could sort of say like if they do a specific thing, then they'll get like then they'll get a reward. Put Darian in a wheelchair. Is that really what it needs to be? Is that really? That's a lot for a single scenario. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of it being fairly straightforward of like, here is the market. Here is Lydia. Here is Darian's stall. Here's maybe like 2 other merchant stalls, and here's the like town guards. So it's like fairly contained, and then the 3 players are here, here, and here. It's fairly contained, and like they could go do other crazy shit in town, and if they do, I'll try to kind of like be flexible with it to some degree, but that's what I was thinking. What I'm imagining in my head is Riften. Like I'm specifically imagining the town square of Riften where there's the merchants next to each other, and then you have to literally steal from this guy. Okay, it has been reworked. Is there passion for this one or not? This is too low energy. Also too low energy. I need a high energy song. Give me something. All right, people are excited about Merchant's Dilemma. Cool, that goes in. That's number 4. And obviously a lot of these are about like steal a thing or convince a person to do whatever. I do want to get some variety. Most of my current ideas are about that. So we'll try to do some that are a little more combat focused. Okay, next one. Fisherman's Request. A fisherman, Old Tom by the river, asks the players to help him catch the legendary golden fish. They must either use their skills to catch the fish or discover and reveal Tom's cheating competitors' secret methods. What I like about this is like they could just try to fish. They could like maybe we'll say like Tom has, Old Tom has the item or something. Maybe they can do like they see the fish moving around and like traditional fishing doesn't work. But they can come up with some crazy fishing strategy. The fish are endangered. Tom should cheat at some point. This is the most pog prompt ever. Really, it feels kind of mellow to me. The Gemerald... Oh, there's a Gemerald in the fish. But like Old Tom doesn't want to give it to him. Then they have to like argue with Old Tom about it after helping him, if they choose to help him. This is another one where they could just leave is the problem.
guys, don't forget someone good at 2D platformers is about to play Spelunky at GDQ. Let Doug play by himself with his fake friends here.
Dude, good Spelunky players are so good. It's crazy. What would need reworking about this?
Are you going to be a ginger now or just shiny or have green hair? Choose wisely.
Ginger. My beard is ginger.
Hey Doug, can one of the mystical items be a pregnancy gun?
I would... Okay, I'm going to put the... maybe. I'm going to put this... Because we'll let each character
I
have,
am the
like, weird
Sphinx,
spells.
here is my riddle. I am the Sphinx, here is my riddle. What is bald in the morning, bald at noon, and bald in the evening? The answer is Doug. Bald when he was a baby,
not a riddle.
bald now, and bald when he becomes an old man.
Okay, this is similar to the joke one, but Bandit Leader Thorn, Oh, here, let me move on. I'm going to put that as a
Hey
solid
Doug,
maybe.
once again, thank you for streaming. Just kidding, fuck you.
Thank you. The Bandit's Bargain. Bandit Leader Thorn captures the players and will only release them if they can entertain him with a tale of their
Now
greatest
that the blonde is
adventure,
gone, you should dye your
judged
hair
by his
black and
band
become emo.
of rogues. I don't think my hair looks very good dyed any color.
What if the gems are in the background and I have to find it in the image, like the socks in Pajama Sam?
It's not really. That is funny, but maybe.
I like the ones that have a time limit. Like maybe a combat situation where they have to clear the enemies before a certain time or they lose the gem, or more spawn or something.
Yeah, I also like the feeling that there's, like, impending disaster of some kind. Okay, not a lot of
A
people
local
enthusiastic about
tavern
this
is
one.
being robbed at sword point and the workers are held hostage. The Ash must either rescue them or negotiate their release.
I think I have something similar-ish to that, but we can come back to that. The Drunken
I
Duel.
like it more if Lydia is trying to blackmail and cause she wants Styrian stand at the marketplace or something like that. Doug, because you brought up a wheelchair, I think the guard should be Joe Swanson. Hey Doug. Some random guy just shot me with a pregnancy gun. Any leads?
Any leads? The Drunken Duel. In the tavern, Captain Grog challenges the players to a drinking contest, followed by a duel. They must outdrink and outfight him to gain his respect and a vital piece of information. Maybe his general or whatever. So it'd be drinking first and then fighting. I think this is a good one. All right, that's a strong yes. All right, Drunken Duel goes in. Welcome to the team, Captain Grog. Thanks, Cora. Glad to see you show up and support
An
our
old
boy,
French
Captain
general
Grog.
challenges the party to a game of chess in exchange for a Gemerald location.
So
He cheats constantly, but if accused, will attack the party.
I did actually think about doing chess, but the problem is, like, a single AI chess match takes like 3
Poison
hours.
is slowly
so it would
filling
just-
a locked room and they have to figure out a way out in 6 turns or they take damage or die.
Yeah, with one of the prison escape ones I wanted to do, they're in prison in a poison swamp. So they're like slowly dying. I know good content when I see it. Okay, we got Drunken Duel. Next up. Again, I would recommend not...
They get kidnapped by cannibals. They will be eaten, unless they can cook something that tastes so good the cannibals let them go.
Okay, that's pretty
Or
funny.
maybe they have to cook something with the other people body parts already there or normal food.
That's funny because they might like sacrifice themselves. Okay. The Witch's Bargain. Witch Morgana offers the players a powerful artifact in exchange for retrieving her lost familiar, a mischievous imp hiding in a nearby village and causing trouble. My thinking here is I could we put it in a tavern or like a town square or something, and they have to like ask around and find where the imp is. It's a little open-ended. I think it's fine. There isn't necessarily like combat or whatever. I would probably lean towards no. At the very least, it needs to be reworked, so it's a little more specific. But it's basically they would be like chasing around a little creature in a town. Okay. A lot of people are saying rework it. In your brain, what is the thing that needs to be reworked? It sounds too long for an AI to manage. Yeah, that's my concern. Because, like, ideally, we're sort of containing this to, like, essentially a single interaction, you know? Like a single sort of... And this is, like, it's much more open-ended. I would have to, like, make a whole village that they have to explore. I'm feel like this is gonna be... It's gonna get too kind of off track and slow. I'm gonna nix this one. Okay, kidnapped by cannibals. You have to cook them something delicious for them to let you go. This one's pretty funny. There's less options, but the options are all funny, which is basically having to eat each other. Yeah, we could do like a room full of stuff for the imp instead, but I think getting more specific is probably better. I don't think the premise was that powerful enough to need to rework it rather than coming up with something different. All right, cannibals are in. The prison break. In the city of Greystone, the players must help imprisoned thief Rena escape in exchange for information on a hidden treasure. They can bribe the guards, create a distraction, or find a secret passage. Alternatively, they get trapped and they have to escape a prison. I thought I had another one down here. Maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna rework this. Because I wrote this part. The players are imprisoned. The jail cell is in a poison swamp, so they are slowly being hurt. They can bribe the guards, create a distraction, or find a secret passage. So we like give them a couple ways to like engage with the thing. They actually did the crime. I don't want to just say that they did a crime. I mean, for them to go to prison, I feel like, falsely in prison. Maybe there's another, what was her name? Rena? How are we feeling about this? We want criminals. I mean, what we could do is like add more stuff of like the instant they enter the town, Doug asks what they do. No matter what they do, it turns out that is illegal in this town. And the guards try to arrest them. If they don't resist, they have to do the prison escape sequence. I think that kind of solves it a bit. So there's like a little bit of flexibility on like how and why they get arrested. And again, what I want to do for every one of these scenarios is that we'll do the scenario, right? We'll set it up, but then before we start it, I'll ask you guys what little twist should we add in order to like play to their personalities a little bit, right? So in theory, we're gonna like customize it a little bit around them. So we'll always add something on top of it. The farmer's plea. Farmer Jeb asks the players to help rid his farm of a group of pesky gremlins that have been destroying his crops. They can fight the gremlins, negotiate, or set traps. I don't know how I felt about this one. It feels like it could be a sort of like... I don't know. It's a bit loose.
Idea: the Jacks attack. //4 Jacks look like the nobleman on the cards hired a party to kill John for saying Jack is a stupid name or something with Jack-related jokes. The twist is the Jacks are all British and the party has to decide to get gold but do evil by helping British people.
I feel like AIs would get really confused by that. Because I got confused by
The
that.
town blames an evil wizard in his nearby tower for many unexplained deaths in the town. Turns out the wizard is a cool dude, but there's just Hikali in the water well and they players have to purify it or kill the wizard anyways, clearing the scenario but dooming the village.
It's just E. coli. All right, hold on. I don't suggest new scenarios yet. We'll do that at the end. It'll be a lot easier to add new ones when we get through these. But like, what do they? So they just decide whether or not to leave the E. coli? Okay, remind me of the E. coli one at the end. The Knight's Honor. Disgraced Knight Sir Alaric challenges the players to a series of combat trials to regain his honor. They must either defeat him or find a way to restore his reputation. So I like the idea that like this is in the middle of a town square. So like he's like he basically is looking for a way to restore his reputation, either by defeating them or they can do anything else to try to like redeem him somehow. So it's a little more open-ended of like, how do you get this NPC to be like happy? I mean, we already have the drinking contest in Duel, so this one I'd more want to be like, I want to fight all of you. Like, yeah, it is similar to the drunk one. The reason that this feels a bit different is they like, it's like he could be open to another way of restoring his reputation. Okay. Not a ton of enthusiasm for this one. I mean, I think fighting it would be good. Well, no, because then he loses his honor. I'm gonna drop this. Not enough enthusiasm for him. The explosive barrels. Oh. I feel like there needs to be a lot of enthusiasm. Remove? Oh, that's interesting. What if we remove the duel? Okay, so what if it's just really open-ended? It's just they just have to help this knight restore his reputation. And like they can just come up with ideas for how to do it. He asks the players to help him restore his reputation as a fearsome warrior. However, he is actually terrified of fighting and doesn't want anyone to realize this. So they're like trying to help this like cowardly guy just regain his reputation without like actually like fighting, really. Could be kind of funny. This would like by definition involve very, very little combat, but I do think that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it could be overcoming a fear, because then they have to, like, encourage him to, like, oh, you should go fight that random guy over the bar there. Like, tell him, whatever. Yeah, the Gemeralds will probably give a bonus when fighting the boss, I think. That or we just don't do Gemeralds. Or it's just a bonus. You just unlock, I don't know. It's just New Game Plus or something. All right, we're leaving in the Knight's Honor. Explosive barrels. In a bandit camp filled with explosive barrels, bandit leader Rax demands the players surrender their weapons. Any attack risks setting off a chain reaction. Oh, that's it. I just wanted something with explosive barrels. I feel like this is probably could be more interesting. This doesn't seem like that exciting, really. That's pretty good. I think the explosive barrels are good, but I don't feel like there's enough there. Like, what is the... What is the point? Like, what happens if they surrender them? Yeah, I guess they just don't have a weapon then. But then that's kind of weird. Like, then I need rules around whether or not you have a weapon. I would lean towards...
Douglas's most hairy best 2D platformer ever. There, Doug. I did your paid promotion. Can I see my family again?
No, we have an 18-month contract. You got to see the rest of your contract through. Add the barrels. We get. I think we. Okay.
Sir Alaric has lost his honor in the competitive eating community.
Why don't we add there are explosive barrels?
DLC.
Yeah, it's the DLC. There are explosive barrels sitting around. Why don't we just add this to one of the other things? How about like Knight's Honor?
Hey,
just there's explosive
you should
barrels.
totally add a random chance of plants going rabid if too many explosions happen and disturb the local ecosystem.
Wait, which one should have explosions? Probably not the Drunken Duel. Probably not fishing.
Doug,
Probably not the
sorry
Merchant
about the
Dilemma.
confusion. To clarify, the jacks are from playing cards, and each of the 4 represent a different suite: hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds. The name John is where the name Jack came from. It can take place in a port city.
Okay, I'm gonna do it with Knight's Honor. There's explosive barrels sitting around with the Dishonored Knight. Okay, we could also put it in the fishing one. We can maybe do multiple character type stuff. I'm concerned that it would confuse these guys a lot.
How about there are explosive barrels everywhere? Just
Okay,
put
I think that's good.
explosive barrels somewhere in every scenario. You know, for excitement.
Yeah, well, I'll just try to get a lot more explosive barrels in here. Okay, next one. This feels too similar. No, I'm nixing this one. This is too similar to the Merchant Bridge. Okay. The sinking ship. On a ship slowly sinking in a storm, Captain Hargrave tasks the players with patching up leaks and bailing out water. They must balance a task while fighting off sea creatures. So it's like they're in a boat, and we're like, you gotta cross the river or something. Oh, yeah, we could have Gemeralds for other things, Sickbee. There are explosive barrels everywhere. I think this one's fine. It's very similar to the vampire thing, kind of.
Can you make one of the players be a
Actually, it is kinda
metagamer,
cool.
but he's really bad at it?
It is cool in that the ship is sinking, so they have to be doing multiple tasks. And if they don't do multiple tasks simultaneously, then it's like, then they have issues.
Wait, you take people's families for 18 months? Where do I sign up?
Okay, this will be funny, because like if they keep ignoring... Yeah, okay, we'll send this one. I think this is fun. Just type exclamation mark kidnap my family, and then you'll get automatically signed up. How many more do these do I have? Still quite a bit more. All right, there's still quite a few more, and then we'll open it up a little bit. The Beehive Grove. I didn't think this one was that great, but it had bees. In a grove filled with giant beehives, herbalist Celine requests the players gather their honey for a powerful potion. Disturbing the bees could lead to a swarm attack. This one is funny because then it's just like, all right, go and try to interact with the bees, and then we, and then we just see if they can like do it well, and if not, the bees start attacking them. It is funny. I love it. Is there anything else we need to add, or do we just send it? I also don't think that there's bee art in Dungeon Alchemist, but whatever. Good to go. There are explosive barrels. No, there are gonna be, I guess there could be explosive barrels. No, I don't want to overdo explosive barrels.
Hey Doug, it's the fan from the pizza place last Friday. I wanted to know what you thought of the pizza.
Hello! It's great. I love that pizza. New York style pizza, the best. It's so goddamn good. Explosive bees.
I should be forced to play a trivia game about Gerald Ford. If they don't answer enough questions right, The game show host attacks them with explosive barrels. If they
All
get
right.
them all right, they
We're-
get a general.
We're leaning too hard into the explosions. Have one of the runs be an explosive barrel run. Okay, what we'll do is after we do a stream or two of this, then we'll do a run where every single scenario has tons of explosive barrels, and we'll just see how far the AI gets. But like, you instantly die if your barrel explodes next to you. Okay. Okay, we're including the B scenario. The cliffside rescue. On a narrow cliff path, mountain climber Rolf is dangling from a rope. The players must save him without falling themselves, navigating loose rocks and gusty winds. So the idea of like they have to figure out how to get a guy who's like dangling from a rope. I'm worried it's like a little too simple. Like they can just basically just come up with a thing. Maybe like there are harpies. That could maybe make it more interesting. So there's like a bird flying around that's like trying to pull them off. So there's like a bit more like tension to it. But I could go either way on this one. Harpies. Harpies. What if the birds have explosive barrels? What's funny is that is an actual thing in Elden Ring. That is a real enemy. All right, not a lot of enthusiasm for the cliffside rescue. Sorry to the herpes fans out there.
Have the explosive barrels as a jump scare to make the party focus on defusing a bomb mid-fight and make the character do something stupid after as confirmation on the diffusion, like a thumbs up and an excited oh yeah.
Quick time events are a challenge. Okay. Okay, this one is a little crazy, but hear me out. The players encounter... Let me set the mood for you. The players encounter a blind oracle, Madame Visra, who demands they describe the most beautiful sight they've ever seen. If she deems their description worthy, she'll grant them a prophecy. If not, she'll curse them with temporary blindness. So what I think is funny about temporary blindness is like they just actually are blind for the next like full scenario or something. She can't see that she is surrounded by explosives. I mean, so okay, with something like this, probably what I would do is like put it up to a vote of you guys, because Madame Visra is me, as a reminder, as the dungeon master. So I'd probably have you and me play her together, where you guys vote on whether the story they gave is good. The other problem with this is I'm not sure the AI will actually know what it means to be blind, and I'll probably have to keep reminding them of like, you can't do that, you're blind now. But the fact that she's surrounded by explosive barrels is funny. Okay, we can't lean too much into the explosive barrel thing. No more explosive barrels, but this is very funny. So we're leaving that in. Okay. An eccentric gnome inventor, Fizzbang Gearloose, challenges the party to a bizarre contest. They must create the most useless machine possible using only items from their backpacks. The winner gets a mysterious artifact. I feel like there needs to be more here. There's no like tension to this. How do we add some sort of like consequence or tension here? I want there to be a little bit. It's too simple right now. Regular barrels. No more barrels. The twist is that the goblin will immediately attack the players with the machines they build. That's kind of cool. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sorry, that was Nomist. My bad. The machine anti-explosive. So, I mean, I think the thing here is like they build a thing without realizing that it's going to be used for something bad. And depending on what they build, the, you know, effectiveness of him attacking them is like better or worse. I'm not really going to give them inventories. So it'll just be like, hey, whatever you have in your backpack, and they'll just send it within reason. Don't force it to be useless. Yeah. They must create the most powerful machine possible using only items from their backpack. The winner gets a mysterious artifact. He promises them a precious gemerald. The twist is that the gnome is it and will immediately attack the players with the machine they build. I think that's a cool one, because then, like, depending on what weird shit the AI comes up with, we then like play off of that and fuck with them. That's a good one. I like that. Okay. That one's great. Love it. A stone golem named Pebble guards a vault. It will only open the door if the players can make it cry, a feat never before accomplished for a creature made of rock. This is funny. However, the AIs are just going to like tell a sad story or whatever. Like, we know how this is going to play out. I don't feel like there's enough. This is basically just we roll a die and we see if they roll high enough. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of variety here. That was in Vox Machina. This was? Okay, then I'm tossing it. Just a sad story doesn't work. Oh, yeah, we could say, like, sad stories do not make it work. Or do not elicit any emotion. So how would they make it cry? I guess that's kind of funny, and we just see what they do. Okay, I'm kind of into this. If they end up attacking it, they just get into this big fight. Yeah, we just leave it up to them. Like, you fucking figure it out. If you have a good idea, we'll send it. We'll go with it. A medieval torture level. Okay, we're sending it with Pebble the Stone Golem. A mischievous pixie, Nettle Blossom, has stolen an important key. She'll return it if the players can catch her, but every time they fail, she polymorphs one of them into a small animal for an hour. So, okay, the main thing I liked here was not really the concept, although the concept's fun, but more so the idea that one of them would be polymorphed into a small, like, woodland animal, and they just are that for the next entire scenario. So that, I think, is a very funny concept. What I want to do is, for temporary blindness or being polymorphed into an animal, I want it to be like the whole next scenario they're also an animal, and then they just have to deal with it. One of them polymorphs into an explosive barrel. Because that way, yeah, there's like continuity between stuff. As much as possible, I want it to be like... So if they do some crazy shit in an early scenario, right? Like with this scenario, they do some crazy shit. What we will do as we're playing this is if they then pick and go to scenario D next, we'll adjust it slightly based on what they've already done. So if there's some character who they tortured here, or that, you know, or they had like a snafu with or something, like we'll have that show up again later on. So as they decide to do stuff, we'll try to incorporate it into what's happening in the thing. Okay, how do we... I feel like this needs to be reworked a bit. The idea of polymorphing them is funny if they fail. Is there another one that we could just throw that into rather than doing this pixie one? Let's... Okay, polymorphing for an animal. The witch from before that I removed. The gnome. Okay, well, let's add it. Well, the gnome is like he's going to use their machine, which I think is fun. Let's just, okay, the idea of they get polymorphed into a small animal for, for a whole scenario. I think let's keep that in board. Maybe it works for this next one, which is a pair of warring wizards, Flambard the Flame and Frost Frederica, demand the players choose sides in their elementally charged feud. The players must find a way to resolve the conflict without taking sides. Well, I would just more say the players decide what to do. I think I like the idea that there's two like wizards in a feud and they have to like either get involved or not get involved or kill one or whatever. And like both of the wizards are like trying to convince the players to ally with them or something. Flambard the Barrel, right. Needs more. I like the idea of two groups fighting and the players choose to ally with one of them, but we could just toss this. One wizard polymorphs instead of fire and ice. I mean, it could just be like they're in a tavern and these two wizards start fighting and they choose what to do. Like, I'm interested in the idea of there just is a conflict and they can choose what to do. I think is interesting. And rolled. Start fighting in a tavern and polymorph. Their spells keep missing and starting fires in the tavern or polymorphing random people into small animals. The players can choose to fight them or ally with one or leave. I think that's kind of funny. Like there's some sort of like there's just kind of chaos in the tavern. I'm more on board with this now. I think it's interesting.
My uncle lives in Central America and has beehives and landmines that might not work. He told us not to go near his shed just in case.
Oh my god. Landmines are horrifying.
No 3
Panic at the
kobolds or
tavern,
elves in
yeah.
a trench coat? What about 3 explosive barrels in one?
Okay. People are pretty enthused about this one. I like that.
The eye needs to smoke an entire carton of Marlboro Golds by the end of the campaign.
That can be one of the personality traits. Okay, we have like 3 more.
Hey Doug, I wanted to take a second to compliment you on your skill at wrangling chat. It's not easy to maintain a fun, chaotic back and forth without letting things get out of hand, but you do it very well.
Thank you.
That said, we could really use a walk.
You want to go for a walk? You want a treat? You want a treat? Okay. The players meet a reformed necromancer, Life is Better Mort, who needs help convincing his zombies to get real jobs. The players must conduct job interviews for the undead and find them suitable employment. This is funny, but this is not feasible. This is like way too much. I'm gonna cut this one. Very funny, but that's a giant mess of a scenario. That's a big, broad thing. It's funny, but like, I know zombies deserve work. It's also, that would just turn into like really long conversations that are job interviews. I think the concept would get derailed super fast. Okay. The players encounter a group of wind elementals having debate on top of a snow-covered mountain peak. To get crucial information, the party must mediate the... Okay, this is similar to the elements' arguments without getting blown off the narrow ledge or triggering... Okay, wait, hold on. Players can engage or just sneak by. But volume... So here's the element that I thought was interesting. Volume is the key here. If anything is too loud, the avalanche is triggered. So the idea being like they're in this environment where if anything is loud, then like you can like get avalanched off the cliff. And so it's all about like, are they trying to tiptoe? Are they going to get involved with the wind elementals? Having a screamingly loud debate. I think it's like interesting. Explosive barrels would be great here. Why would there be explosive barrels on top of the mountain? That doesn't make sense. Unlike everything else, that doesn't make sense. So with this one, it would be a lot of like, how do you choose to get through the scenario while being as quiet as possible? And then we would sort of roll based on what they choose to do. Squeaky Tony is also there. Squeaky Tony, yes. You say that as though that's a character who we've been aware of before right now. As though you've just been waiting for Sneaky Tony to finally show up again in a Doug stream. Okay, this one I'm like kind of a maybe on. No, it's pretty good. I think the idea of them trying to figure out how to be ultra quiet is fun. And that could play off of their personalities well, you know. You just subbed for 3 years. 80s Rock, thank you.
That's a $60 value, all for only $14.99.
You don't know Squeaky Tony? Sorry. Yeah, like if somebody has like this would be a situation where if somebody like, you know, shits their pants all the time. That's one of the personality traits we gave the AI. Like that's funny to be like, "Uh-oh. The guy who like farts too loudly is going through," right? So I feel like like scenarios like this are funny and that certain personality traits will really like add to the tension of it. Okay. They have to fight a wizard in a tower, but he has the power to control speech. Every turn, so it's like a normal fight, but every turn he declares, like has a spell, casts a new spell that if you say a certain type of word, for example, any 4-letter word, then you will be hurt. This leads to the AIs trying to talk and interact while following these rules and getting hurt if not. So basically just combat, but the wizard is like, okay, now my new spell, 4-letter words are banned. And then we see if the AIs can like keep up with it, right? Like the AIs might be terrible at it, but it'd be funny to see. And it doesn't need to be 4-letter words. It could be like, they can't, probably the AIs just can't do this. And so it doesn't really work. We can make it a little bit easier. I like the concept of it a lot, but they might really struggle with it. That's just Doug. I don't know if they can even do that. Hold on, let me see. Please write a long fantasy story about a king who travels to a faraway land, but don't use any words that are 4 letters long, and also don't use the letter K ever. Okay, immediately fails at this. Okay, yeah, no, the AI is not going to work. Starts the 3 of the first 4 words. And he also used K quite a few times. Okay, yeah, no, the AIs are not going to... No. Good idea. It's not going to work. All right, so how many do we have in total? Let's see how many more we need, because then I need to make like maps for all of these. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is a maybe though. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18. We have 18. That's pretty good. We do have 2 maybes, though. Given that we have everything, masquerade party. A castle masquerade party where everyone is masked. The evil queen is one has one party guest murdered every turn until someone finds out who the queen is. The killing continues. I, at this point, would probably lean towards no on this, but it is cool. It's a cool idea. Oh, right, and the E. coli would... Yeah, I mean, we can open it up to other ideas, too, but... Remember the Alamo and the E. coli. I don't think we're gonna... Okay. I'm gonna nix this one. I don't really know how I would manage this one as a DM. Okay, we're down to 17. Maybe. The Fisherman's Request. Fisherman Old Tom by the river asks the players to help him catch the legendary golden fish. They must either use their skills to catch the fish or discover and reveal Tom's cheating competitors' secret methods. Traditional fishing doesn't work, but they can come up with some crazy fishing strategy. There's a gemerald in the fish, but Old Tom doesn't want to give it to them. There are explosive barrels sitting around. I'm going to remove the explosive barrels. It's too obvious what would happen with them. I'm removing the explosive barrels. They have to creatively find a way to fish. If there's just a giant explosive barrel sitting there, it's too obvious. I'm tempted to do this one because I feel like it'd be funny to see like how they try to catch a fish. Like it's a very that's a really like open-ended thing. How about there are barrels? Okay, there are explosive barrels, but this will just blow up the golden fish. Okay? So this way, the barrels are like a temptation, okay? So it, will definitely just ruin the whole thing. Which will make Old Tom attack them. Okay, how about that? Now I'm on board with this scenario. We give them the temptation of explosive barrels. If we have an AI that's too evil, he'll probably just try to kill everybody. Okay. We're leaving in fish. So we have 17. Cool. We have 17 scenarios. What was the E. coli one again? They go to a wizard tower. Was this it? Wait, what was the actual thing here? Okay, wizard is okay. A town is dying. They think it's an evil wizard. Turns out he's cool, but the water well just has E. coli in it. Okay, this is funny, but how does it resolve? Like, Persona 3 music is okay right now most of the time, but maybe that'll get claimed. I haven't played that in a while. There's no challenger mission. They just find an E. coli wizard. Does the wizard... So what, they go talk to the wizard and he's like, no, I'm cool. I'm not causing the deaths. But the well over there seems sketchy, and then what? The players can kill the wizard and get the reward anyway, but the village continues to die, or they try to get to the real cause of the disease. But then how do they fix E. coli? They kill the wizard or fix the well. put explosive barrels in the water well. I'm not understanding like what they like how the AI would kind of guide through this. Cholera would be a more accurate. Yeah, I mean E. coli is funny. I just don't know how that's the AI's problem. Not, I mean, we could just send it, and I'm okay with that. It just feels strange. I am okay with just sending a weird open-ended one, but like, where's the tension in this? The wizard can be convinced to purify the well, but like, what? It doesn't like they can just leave. Like, there's no incentive to do any of this. The townspeople give them money. And offer to pay the party if they kill him. So I guess they decide whether to kill the wizard or cure the water well. I think yeah. It's a really funny concept. I'm not imagining like this being a super funny like conversation with it. The E. coli is the final boss. Here, while this vote happens again, let me go through some alerts.
Can one of the Ash be a trigger-happy pyromaniac who loves fire and blowing stuff up? You know, just to synergize with all the explosive barrels.
That feels like too on the nose to me, but if that's what chat wants, that's fine. Like, we'll design the AI personalities at the beginning of a stream, right?
No explosive barrels, got it. / explosive crates from now on.
Oh, oops, I forgot to run the poll. E. coli boss battle sounds cool.
The eye punch pebbles. That's how they make him cry.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do in that one. I mean, we can just send this. That's fine. I mean, again, we'll add a twist.
When is this adventure actually happening?
I don't know. A few days at the earliest, because I'll have to like make all of these things and get it set up.
You should add a point
either
where
later
the
this week
dragon
or
comes
early
out
next
of
week.
nowhere,
Hopefully.
but in order to slay it, you must play a game of chess.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this earlier. Chess would just like really derail us for like a huge amount of time. Because chess games have typically taken like 2 hours.
There is a kid that is very unpopular at school and nerdy, but nice. No one is going to come to his birthday. His mom wants you to get other kids to come to his birthday party. And also do things to make the party even cooler, like what entertainment to bring, flame jugglers, wizards, a horse, what food, etc. They need to convince the people at his school that he is super cool.
Very funny idea. I feel like that would take... There's too much involved. That would take a long time. That is a very funny idea. Oops,
Hey
wrong
Doug,
song.
how much realism or railroading will you be establishing? Like, I can easily see you allowing them to pull a rope out of a backpack even though they never mentioned it. But probably not a nuke? What if they choose an option that is not presented? Etc. etc.
I will try to navigate that as best I can as the dungeon master. That will basically be up to me to decide. And generally I'll go with what is fun and makes a good
Cholera
story.
would be a more accurate pathogen for the well-based plague.
In general, I will go with rule of cool, which is that if there's a good idea that isn't completely preposterous, I'll go for it.
Look up the Broad Street pump from the English cholera pandemic.
What? But why? The thing is, like...
The Gemeralds could just have a secret magical power that can help the party defeat the final boss, and you don't tell the Ash what the power is. All they know is that collecting all of them is their best chance. The power, of course, turns out to be the power to summon His Excellency, President Gerald Ford. May his infinite wisdom guide us all. And he's obviously wearing ornate armor and he has a bald eagle on his shoulder.
Cool. This is cholera. Oops.
Well, if chess is too much, what about blackjack?
That is pretty funny. You do a blackjack round.
Scenario idea: the party arrives in a forest where they mysteriously become paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair. Then they have to get through the forest using creative thinking to reach a wizard named Kian who reveals that it was just a test and determines their worthiness to be cured. If they're not worthy, they will be paralyzed for the next scenario.
I think it's too similar to
the...
It's too similar to the blind one, I think. Okay. I will now read ideas from chat for scenarios. I think we have enough and we don't really need any more, so I will do 60 seconds of reading ideas. Ready, set, go. Wait, don't donate. Just type in the chat. A troll asking for deeply personal advice. I feel like that's kind of covered with the stone golem. Get into a secret bunker. That feels to me similar to the prison escape. I'm trying to think of things that are like really unique themes. Kill God. Shapeshifters in a cave. Joseph Stalin. Unemployable zombie and have to get him a job. We could do... Okay. Hear me out. Why do you get timed out? The soup factory. Okay. I am seeing... There's a depressed zombie in a tavern who wants a job. The players must help him secure a job. So in theory, we do. There's an unemployed zombie in a tavern who wants a job, and the players have to help him get a job and convince one of the people in the tavern to hire him. That's like kind of funny, I think, because that way it's just like, can they convince other people, and they have to like do a really good job. I mean, I'm seeing. By the way, I read through a lot of the scenarios, just like skimming through. I think a lot of them are either share similar themes with what we already have, or are a little too complex. It's whose? Oh, you're right. That is whose. I always get confused by whose. Okay, somebody wrote heroin goblin. Sure, I'll put it there. Heroin goblin. Nightclub, players are in town. Okay, there's lots of ideas that I think are decent. None jumped out at me as being like, yeah, we have to get that in. I think we have enough that I'm excited about. That I think we leave it with these. Do we want to get a zombie a job? No, it's not that people are unfunny. It's that I think we've covered a pretty broad range of different kind of vibes. And at this point, I'm hesitant to add more because it's just more setup for something that we don't really know what kind of scenarios are going to work best. So I think we have a really good starting group. And then after like a round or two of trying the game, we can go, okay, these types of scenes are more fun, these types of scenes are less fun, and then kind of rearrange it from there. So I think we have this is a good group to start things off. I feel pretty good about this.
Can you put a landmine where if any character says the real blank is the friends we made along the way, then the character instantly dies?
Yeah, okay. Remind me, next time we need to make one of the three AIs have a personality where there's a bomb in their head. If they say something specific, it blows up.
/ the party goes trick-or-treating to see who can get the most candy and have to make their own homemade costumes, but it's middle of July.
See, very funny.
Hi, Doug, you are amazing.
Thank you. Very funny, but that would take so long. That would be like a very long scenario.
I like the idea of an espionage mission where they have to sneak into a fancy event or maybe a cult undercover, fit in and steal something without being caught.
We have this, yeah, we do have the stealing from the museum. We dropped the masquerade party, which would kind of be like that. I agree it's a good vibe.
The water is contaminated because the wizard keeps shitting in it, and he doesn't want to stop.
He keeps shitting in the well.
I would love to see the I tackle one of your party has been replaced by a doppelganger.
Yeah, the challenge with that is it's really hard to
Hey Doug, hope you're
for them
having
to
a good
understand
day.
the distinction.
Nice to know the challenges you made for Twitch chat are now going to I. Not even our jobs are safe, lol.
Well, in this case, I'm outsourcing the planning to you guys, and then as I stated, with each one of these scenarios, we'll twist it a little bit
sees
together.
A guy hassling a merchant for meat from a golden boar. The merchant tries to tell him that they're pretty sure that such a thing is just a scam, but the guy just brushes him off and continues to cause a scene. The merchant then asks the party if they'll investigate whether or not such a thing exists.
See, that's a good start to an adventure, rather than a really small self-contained scene.
Random sci-fi alien encounter trying to fix their ship to go home.
No. Maybe later. I think we're good. I think
Gun that shoots cheese.
that's not really a scenario idea, but... Okay, any ideas for the final boss?
The local bard wants the players to ghostwrite his next song.
Ideally, it's not just like, oh, it's Pajama Sam and Gerald Ford. It's like something that feels like original and relevant to this.
Doug, remember
what
my
we've done.
idea about the 4 jacks? What about the 4 jacks but you fight one and the other 3 come after the party one by one, and after all 4 are killed the party will have to fight the jack of jacks.
Could maybe be like they have to collect 4 cards.
1990s sitcom Christmas special episode with all the tropes.
It's not really a scenario. Kind of. We could do something like you have to collect 4 cards. No, because we're not doing collection anymore. Okay. Rather than having it just be a reference to something else that we've done, like it's Shrek or it's like Pajama Sam, what is like an original character that could be created based off of what they do in the party or like in the adventure, right? Like that's the ideal scenario. Rather than this just being like some totally disconnected thing that has nothing to do with what's going on, it's like related to how they've done the adventure, right? So I'm not just asking for like a name. It's like what is the premise of the boss? That's more interesting, right? Than just like an interesting format rather than just his name is, barreled or whatever. I mean, it could be like just based on what they've done. We just set the boss as a final thing. But like, okay, in theory, what is the motivation? Hold on. Let's start with motivation. What is the motivation for our AIs? Like broadly. Do we give them each their own motivation for what they want to do? Is it that like a family member of theirs was kidnapped? Is it that this is like a precious item they've always wanted at the very end? Are they saving the world? Like, what is the motivation? I feel like that'll help us figure out what to do. I think there's probably value. Sigby, that is funny if we have a fourth wall character who just keeps telling them they're AIs and this isn't real. This is just a stream on Twitch.tv. But anyway, all right. They have to get water for their people. They get explosive barrels. Their stocks company become the avatar. They're bored. They need a cure for brain worms. Okay, what about something that has to do with them being AIs? Is there a way that we can relate the final boss or their quest to be that it has something to do with their being an AI? You know what I mean? Like they want to become real or something? Okay. I have an idea. Okay. What if we start the stream by making the 3 characters, right? And we give them each personality traits, background, like what they like to do, motivations, right? And then the final boss is a dragon or some creature or whatever who is an AI and makes decisions as an AI, but his personality is all 3 of their personalities blended together. So they have to fight against like a mega version of themselves. And we could still have it be like I feel like the scenario can still be kind of crazy, right? But in theory, like I don't know, it could be like a wizard or something that like steals their brain or something. It's a 3-headed dragon. I think that's pretty cool. There still needs to be something more than that, because yeah, we name him Al. It's them, but the opposite. That's interesting. It's an opposite dragon. So even if we do this, so even if we mix, I think the idea of mixing their personalities is pretty interesting, because it makes the overall stream and adventure even more unique based on each of the characters, right? The whole idea of all of this is we're making this broad like story that can feel very different based on how we designed the 3 AIs originally. So I like the idea that the boss is also directly related to the 3 characters that we originally make. So I think this concept is cool, but then we still need to like put them in a scenario where the personalities can do interesting things, right? So in all of these scenarios so far, depending on their personality, they can do very different things. If they just go, and this is just a dragon here who blends all their personalities, like there still needs to be interesting stuff for them to interact with. Like for them to, like, what are they just fighting? Because if they're fighting, like the personality is not necessarily going to involve personality that much. It lays eggs of them. Do you get what I mean? What I'm trying to figure out is like this concept of blending their personalities is cool, but what is the final showdown then like? What is the scenario that allows the personalities to really show off in some interesting way? Yeah, like if they die, they become a new NPC or something. Presumably it should be a fight, right? Or I guess it doesn't have to be, but for this to be a climactic ending to the whole thing, presumably we do want it to be a fight, not just like a presidential debate, as somebody said, or a CAPTCHA. Like having it be a dragon who has the opposite personality is pretty funny. Okay, what if instead of 1, somebody suggested this, by the way, this is not my idea. They face off against 3 AIs who are the opposite personality. And it's like a standard fight in like a dungeon or whatever, but it's like this is determining to see who is the superior personality. They're like shadow clones or something. So they show up and they're like only one of us can live. And they start engaging in battle. This is going to be a lot technically. I would have to make a copy of the okay, it's doable without that much additional work. I think it's cool. What if they get separated in different rooms? So each one has to like, well, what I was thinking, because at this point, let's say AI number B is dead, right? If he's died at this point, do we still have number B to fight against? Because in theory, if they like collect precious items and stuff to help them out, that's what will help them win the battle, is they'll have like an advantage over their shadow clone. I mean, I would say like they have to fight against all three personalities regardless, because that way there's real consequence if they died on the way there, right? Like even if B is dead, you still have to fight negative A, negative B, and negative C, right? Because it's like, that's the whole thing, is like they're working their way towards the boss, and like if they're losing people along the way, the odds that they win the boss fight is low. And vice versa. If they do really well over the course of the adventure, they're like, oh damn, they're probably gonna beat their opposites, like their shadow clones. Yeah, I mean, we can come up with a cool lore to explain this, but in terms of the mechanics of it, I think this is cool. I think this is pretty cool. The previous successful party. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, so in terms of like explaining this, there's various things we can do. Yeah, fighting the previous party is pretty dope. By definition, that gives them an advantage because the previous party died, but still. Okay, so we have some cool options here. Oh, why did it minimize? I hate when it does this. All right, option 1. Who is the final boss? A single dragon, or a single big bad evil what is it? Big evil bad guy? What's the whatever. Single bad guy who is a combo of all three personalities. 3 copies of yourself. I'll just call them shadow clones. BBEG, big bad evil guy. Right. Okay, 3 shadow clones, which are the opposite of your personality. Or we do the previous party who failed. Actually, we'll say the previous party. The only downside with the previous party is if the very first one gets there, then we don't have a final boss. And I guess we could swap over to the shadow clones for the first one. I think these are all very cool ideas. Oh, if it's the previous party who won, that's cool too. Because then, yeah, you have to like dethrone them. Oh, it could be from the D&D stream last year. I think if the very first party makes it to the end, I'd probably do... I think we do the previous party even if they died, because that way it's different every time. Otherwise, we guarantee that the boss is going to be the previous D&D group. I like the idea that even if a team just totally fails, like, now the next party could potentially face them. I really like the opposite of the personality. That's also really cool. But the previous party is sick as hell also. Okay, so... And then I could just design, like, a generic room that they all fight in. I think that works. Yeah, and then I can come up with lore to explain why they are fighting their whatever. Although that's okay, that's the benefit of the shadow clones, which are the opposite of your personality. Of like, if there's some sort of curse and that like an anti-version of your personality was put out into the world, like you'd have clear incentive to go. I mean, we can obviously come up with whatever lore to justify this, but also. Man, I'm torn. This is really like, there's a lot of pros and cons to all this. Clones of the previous party. Well, no, sorry, I just more mean like the opposite of your personality. I think there's something really cool about the idea of you face your, like a version of yourself that's like an anti-version. It also means each story is a little more self-contained, right? Rather than it being this longer form. I mean, it's cool to have like a longer form thing of like, the other thing is like, I would like the very first run to have a chance of being cool and not depend on the previous party's personality. That's like kind of why I'm leaning into this. Even though I know you guys didn't vote for it, I think it makes each stream and each run a little more self-contained rather than depending on knowledge of the previous ones, right? Like this is very cool. And maybe we do this after somebody beats the whole thing, right? Like then we change the rules and now the final boss is the opposite. But to start, it starts with like you have to defeat 3 like shadow clones. Is that fair? I think that's fair, right? So like it basically be the first final boss is going to be shadow clones, the opposite of yourself. And I think that's really compelling because it's like whatever crazy fucking personality we come up with, they have to fight the opposite of that. And like, that's a weird scenario. And then if they sort of defeat it and we're like, okay, that was round 1. That was like version 1 of this whole game done. Then we could like revamp things, including the final boss. And then the final boss is like the previous party. I think that's cool. That also works better than than basing it off of the first D&D stream that I did, because in that stream it wasn't an AI personality. It was Twitch chat. It was a whole bunch of different people incorporating different things. There was obviously kind of a personality, but it was never an AI. So we'd have to be like converting that party into AIs, and there's a whole kind of weird thing there. Okay. I am going to ignore democracy and do this. So, the final boss. This is such a cool idea, dude. Final boss is fight 3 shadow clones who are AIs with the opposite personality. Version 2 can be the previous winning party, so that you have to like overtake them. Okay. I think that's cool. Rigged but fair. There are a bunch of alerts, so obviously we'll listen.
The AI realize they're in a simulated D&D game for the entertainment of the masses. A local potter hires the party to kill a mimic in his shop, but will attack if they damage any real merchandise.
That's... How would they do that?
Recapitation. A guy can remove his head and keeps throwing it under people, and under bathroom stalls etc. So your goal is to get his head attached again so he can't be creepy.
They could just use flex glue.
They have evaded taxes all this time. Turns out the boss is named Taxes.
Oh, fuck, that is a good idea. It's like, if we have the final boss be a collection of all their personalities.
Maybe a giant tree boss. That depends on what trees or plants they damage during the adventure. Or maybe creatures they killed.
It could be controlled by Twitch chat. Oh, fuck. Okay.
A necromancer that summons every person or creature they killed in the path leading up to him. So depending on how bloodthirsty they are, changes the difficulty for the finale fight.
Oh, that is cool, but I also don't want to just like punish it if they...
I like the idea of a guy who was doing all of these things unintentionally, but just says, you know what, fuck you in the end.
Yeah. Although, I guess these don't have to be mutually exclusive. It could do that the clones are decided
is you judging
by
their
you
morality
guys.
And they're trying to rebel and kill God, meaning you Doug.
Well, no, because the whole point is that they're AIs, right? Damn. So the combo of so I think these are two
They're
different
on a
things.
journey to open the fart gates to release the people from the oppressive fart barons.
yeah, it's all related to the fart gates.
It's a capture they have to complete.
The only downside, okay, you guys controlling the final boss is also really cool. I do like that a lot.
Can we have optionally
Fuck.
saved NPCs join them in the end fight?
Yeah, potential. I think we play that stuff by ear. That's the type of stuff that, like, we just roll with what happens, right? So quite possibly. Well, okay, the reason we can't really do
their
both...
most personal fears.
The reason we can't really do both of these ideas... Okay, I think there's two different concepts that are cool here. One is the idea that based on the personalities that we collectively decide for the AI at the beginning of each stream, that affects the final battle. And I think that's really cool. Like, the same thing that's going to make the whole adventure interesting and distinct is also going to define the ending in some way and utilizes AI in an interesting way, right? Where then I'm asking the AI of, like, what do you want to do? But they're the opposite of the players. Alternatively, this can be Twitch chat, which is also a really good ending, right? So this is like a dragon or whatever that you guys, I'll just like pull what you want, right? I'll just pull what you want to do as the dragon, and you are trying to stop them. I think the downside to you guys controlling it is that there's a strong chance you won't want to kill them. Like if we're really in love with this AI now, I feel like a lot of people will just like try to not kill them. And that's funny, but it's not very like climactic. Right? Like that is definitely, and I think what we can do with like Twitch chat plays, what I will try to do as we're going into each scenario and we're, you know, in a tavern or whatever, I will try to like look to you guys and look at chat as often as possible for like what I should have the NPCs do and respond with. So it still is hopefully like us collectively deciding what the AIs are sort of like going through. Oh, too much. But yeah, I mean, we could have Twitch chat control a character like randomly in the middle of one of the encounters. And we can't combine these. You guys can't control the shadow clones because the whole point is that it is an AI that's the opposite, right? It's no longer an AI if you guys are controlling it. That's just a character. Damn, there's just so many cool ideas. Okay, I think we start with shadow minions or shadow clones. I think that's the coolest, most potent thing that ties together to this core theme, which is we design characters and we see what happens, and then the design of those personalities also affects the ending. I think let's start with that. And then down the road we can do like Twitch chat controlled characters and stuff. Yeah, or Twitch chat is a lackey or something. You know, it's like some little minion or whatever that you guys control. I think there's a lot of good options here. I think we start with that. We start with shadow clones. Okay, real quick. Do we want to do shadow clones or shadow clone? Because this could be like evil wizard who is the opposite of their personalities combined. It would simplify the fight a little bit. Whereas if we do if we have like 3 shadow clones, it just means there's a lot going on, right? Probably it should be 3. I think that works better. Yeah, okay. Technically, and from a like length of time, it's gonna be a lot longer with 6. I'm gonna have to like, yeah, it'll be a lot, but I agree. I think we got to go 3. You face your shadow clones. That's like a really cool idea. Well, the 6 characters, there will be more than 6 characters in certain scenes, anyways. They'll just have to deal with it. They'll be okay. Okay. They merge for phase 2. 1 with 3 rounds for each AI. Well, I think I need each one of them to give their own individual responses, because that's like the only way it would show off their like personality in a unique way. It needs to be like them each talking. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but Yeah, I mean, maybe they merge together phase 2. Most likely not, because that would require a different technical setup on the coding side, and I would rather not do that. Or it's a 3-headed monster. I think we probably just do 3. 3 AIs, right? The 3 heads is like there's less flexibility. Like a head can only convey personality so much, right? Like a head can't go like I don't know. Like you're attached to a body. I don't think it's a cool idea, but I don't think it mechanically is as flexible. All right, cool. Well, to recap, we have a cool thing planned now. We have got what 18 different scenarios, I think. 18 different scenarios, which we will put together into a big tree that the AIs can go through. So, to recap for anybody who's missed all this, hopefully in the next week-ish, we'll do one of these. This might be more than a week of needing to get all this prepped. But we're going to start the stream by developing 3 AI personalities. We will have these paths that they can choose to go through with all these different scenarios. Each scenario will build out a little map using Dungeon Alchemist. We'll have NPCs and whatnot that they can interact with a sort of like quest or goal that they have to get through in each scene. Each of the scenarios are hopefully going to be funny and varied and entertaining and repeatable. And then we will also have little like twists that we'll do so that you and I can add and change things slightly depending on what the personalities are doing. And then when they get to the final boss, it is going to be 3 copies of themselves, but with the opposite personality. And then we see if they can defeat the 3 shadow clones. And if so, they have officially solved the campaign. This sounds cool as hell. I hope this is as cool as it seems like it's going to be. Like, this seems sick. That is it for today.
I have all week off and a S-load of beer. Make it happen soon, smile.
Hopefully, like, Thursday or Friday. It would probably mean I won't stream before then. Because, like, doing all the scenarios, getting all the NPCs,
what
really
about
thinking it
clones
through.
of the party, but the only difference is they know they're Ash in a simulation. I think this wouldn't be too interesting multiple times, but could be good ones.
Yeah, the shadow clones keep being like, "You're an AI! Stop fighting me! Doug is controlling us!"
Can Poxy be the final boss?
No, we are not doing this today. I need to now go create a map that looks decent and create
What if during
maps
the adventure,
for every
the eye can
scenario.
have some of their personality changed due to some events, but the opposite eye is based on the original? So that maybe it'll be interesting if the Ash grow and some things aren't a problem for them anymore from the opposites.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll need to think about that. Should be doable
I think
coding-wise.
once you beat the final boss, the real villain all along, Dr. Douglas Eggman finally reveals himself.
How will it be decided what scenario they go? They will decide. So I'll basically be like, to your left there's a tavern, and to your right there's a castle.
Hey Doug, we mess up Ash on accident all the time. Chat can probably do it on purpose. Also, what about Dougal for a villain name?
Shadow Clone sounds pretty cool. More so than Dougal, to in my opinion. I did not do Baldur's Gate 3 yet, but I'd like to. I have more time now, so I've been getting a little more video game time in. But by the way, in the final battle, there will always be an explosive barrel. Don't you guys worry. Cool. This was a stream. I'm going to call it there. Thank you for watching. This is actually really fun, just to, like, plan something together. So, thanks for hanging out. Not the most exhilarating stream of all time, but good time.
Poggy's stream. Wait, I just got here. What did I miss? Can you recap everything?
I just did recap everything, basically. All right, cool. I am gonna go. I'm gonna try to get this stuff set up as fast as possible. I'm hoping that it's not as hard as the previous D&D thing was, and I don't think it will be. So yeah. All right, cool. That's it. I'm gonna go. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a part of today. All right, my brain's shutting down. Goodbye. Hello. I'm gonna raid this guy. Oh, that's an invalid name. All right, go enjoy your raid on Shadow Clone. I have no idea who this is, by the way. All right, bye. Have a good one. Raid Squeaky Tony.